Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vanguard Monthly, number 3. It's the third month we've done a monthly tournament, and we plan to do it for many months more. The second Sunday of every month, we have this little tournament, and we see how the professional players, the high-skill players, are enjoying Vanguard, this prototype RTS that is under development in the StarCraft 2 engine, so we can learn more about RTS concepts, ideas, and make even better RTS games in the future. And whoa, hold on a sec, hold on. We've got a spawning pool, and we've also got a creep colony here. This has to be a Spinecrawler rush. Oh my god. Nomus King, just barely out of vision of that. Just going to wait very patiently. Scouting units are around to see. All he needs to do is go a little bit to the left with his units to clear out this tower. Not going to do it. The Marines. Ooh, wow. The Marines and the Tremors going across the map for an attack while there's a Spinecrawler rush going on that they don't even see. Oh, man. Oh, so many spines are down at this point. High ground is something to be considering at this point. And a bit of engagement going on. Some workers going down pretty early. If this base ends up going down, it will be 3 base to 3 base. But if they can take this base out, they might even the odds. Or rather, bring the odds into their favor. Ambush bunker is triggered, but the units aren't moving forward. There we go. They're starting to get used. Uh-oh. Oh, this is rough. Torque and Zerus have cleaned up the attack and now are beginning the Spinecrawler push into their opponent's base. High ground set up. The Marines, not too much range, though. I don't think they'd be able to hit too many of these Spinecrawlers. Zerglings getting into position. Follow-up attack here. Actually, these spines can just plant themselves right next to this hatchery. The Marines are starting to attack, but they're not so good at killing buildings. This is very, very problematic. One of the spines does go down, but it was focused quite a bit. In the meantime, really nice fighting back over here. These two spines not getting into position. However, one did. Marines moving around a bit, trying to kill each of these spines as they root. Siege tank getting into position, but keep in mind we do have siege mode as an upgrade in this game, so they will not be ready to siege this down just yet. Looks like they are going to lose this base. Should be able to break out later on. Ooh, but this base is let's say a bit vulnerable. I would say this base is slightly vulnerable. In the meantime, look at all these Spinecrawlers doing their giraffe headbutts. And poor little hatchery is no more. Armory on the way. That will enable Nomus King to get siege mode. The tanks do quite well against armored, though. Especially from the high ground there. Going to do a little bit of poking. Now he's got Dragoons coming in. This follow-up could be what they need. At this point, it's 2 base to 4 base. Big lead for Zerus and Torque. If they can just continue to trade cost efficiently, and whenever you're fighting with spines, tends to be rather cost efficient. Let's see if that siege mode upgrade is researched. It is. It is ready to go. Nomus King instead taking this base way over here, but it is scouted immediately. And now the siege tanks will start breaking out. Zerus, only 20 supply at this point, has put everything into this push, but this 2 base economy allows the Hydra transition, We've got a lair on the way, some more supply. By the way, overlords are gone, if you didn't know that. We removed the overlord and replaced it with the spawning pool. Overlords were just too harassable as a supply structure in the way that supply is in Vanguard. So we're trying out supply with buildings for Zerg. Make it a little bit more symmetrical. Not that that is good or bad, but that is true. That is what it is. And we have 5 base to 3. Again, just overall, we're going to start to see Torque and Zervis just explode with supply. At the moment, though, Mr. T and Nomus King have near equivalent forces. Straight up engagement is going to depend a lot on the terrain, the angles. We got units coming in from different directions over here. Looks like they're not really committed to an attack. Spines, though. Spines doing a spine crawler push on siege tanks. Man, all over the place. The Ravagers. Oh, God. The Ravagers just destroy Zerglings so badly. Even if they were to be pulled up here, I don't know. They might actually do quite well, even on their own. A lot of them, a lot of stun time during that, but managed to get a lot of damage off on the Lings. Nice bit of micro here from Torque. Keeping these roaches at bay. And remember, long term, this is a Torque service game. They got really far ahead economically in the opener. So Mr. T and Nomus King have to do something with this push, or be drastically behind and in full desperation. Just now arriving at a 4th base when 5 full mining bases set up for the other team. This is a late game nightmare. Not that it's late game now, but if it gets to late game, it should be heavily favoring Torque and Zervas. That said, there's always edges, there's always ways to come back. This is an undefended base for it to be scouted and jumped on quickly. Consistently doing moves right like that may allow them to catch up, or just if this army runs into a bunch of siege tanks, could be equally as bad. Nice pulls from the Viper. We have Storm as well, just pushing through. Unsieged tanks. Just never able to get set up, being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back over and over again. Have Zervis and Torque overextended. They're a bit surrounded at the moment. Will this be enough? Ravager does get a nice shot off, but it's not really too much. Inspire going down on the tanks and Marines. But now it's 1 versus 2. Mr. T's army has been wiped off. Only 8 roaches. And here we go. Here are the siege tanks in siege mode. This is what they need. Fortunately, too many of them unsieged at once allow the Dragoons to come forward, poke, take one out. Nice storms as well. And a bit of a Hydralisk run by on the left side to make matters even worse. As if they weren't struggling economically enough. Now even more so. Alright, but we're beginning to get a defensive, stable position for Mr. T and Nomus King. The problem is, in classic RTS fashion, whenever you're defending, you give up space to your opponent, and they can utilize that space to get more and more stuff until you are just completely overwhelmed. Really nice use of Abduct there. Taking out so many of the siege tanks, only 2 left. That really is the linchpin of this defense. As they all go down, ambush bunker will get set off, but should be cleaned up relatively quickly. As the unending push, they're pushing, sending units across the map constantly and expanding behind it. This is the dream for any RTS player to be able to have so much room to be able to do the expanding and the attacking all at the same time. Gonna come in and whittle down those rich mineral field protectors. Zerva's gonna be pretty careful with these Vipers and use them in combination with his ally. So many siege tanks going down. Another flanking force from Mr. T coming from the bottom section, shaving off quite a few units. So far the push continues. Nice pull. Great synergy here with the Dragoons to take out the siege tanks after the pulls. And that's it. Nomus King throws out the G, and GG for everyone as well. Congrats. Excellently done. Well played. And that is the video game.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 2 of the Vanguard Monthly number 3. We are in the quarterfinals. First matchup. Torque and Zervis have already scored 1 point. This is best of 3. You need 2 maps to go on. And we have a very quick third base from Mr. T. Mr. T also playing Zerg, which is not super common. So I wonder if anything tricky is up his sleeve at the moment. There is another Zerg. Potential spine crawler options could come into play. But at the moment it looks like Torque and Zervis are the aggressors in this game. See if they scouted that base. Looks like no. I'm going to come right in over here, and Mr. T is going to pay heavily for his expansion first play on Arash. Not the strongest map for an expansion first play, I would say. Even the worst map potentially for an expansion first play. Very risky. And he is punished for it. We're going to see the economic advantage swing way over into red camp as 2 expansions are coming down. So this will be 4 base to 2. Nomus King and Mr. T, however, do have quite a bit of forces on the field. If they can force a cancellation of a base, one of these 2 bases, they'll at least be a little bit less behind. Especially if they can start securing this base over here. Zergling's going to come in. Army's out of position. And it looks like not reacting quickly enough. Building a second gateway before... Nope, the Zealots are across the map. That's the problem. Out of position. And we're already having so much back and forth action in this game. We are now at 3 base to 4. Really great counterattack from Nomus King and Mr. T. And they're going right to the other base. Zerglings... Oh! Looks like they're just retreating. Maybe a little bit of nice surround there. Oh my god. Phenomenal surround. Excellent. It is quite difficult to get a surround that is that excellent, that perfect. In Vanguard, the pathing is a little bit different. It makes surrounds a little bit harder. So Mr. T showing off some skill. And we're gonna have some more just people going for the bases on the outsides here. As soon as it's scouted though, Mr. T just going, oh, nice move. He will split up his links, half stay here, half go home to defend. Will he be able to defend the Nexus and destroy that of Zervas and get his team back? Marines really nice here. As long as they have room to kite, they can be super cost efficient on the other side of the map. The Zerglings have been wild mutated and are starting to focus down that Nexus. Hydralisk coming in. It's going to make it extra difficult for these Marines, but they're buying so much time on the other side of the map. Gets that bound to half health, and that's it. Things looking good. Where's the rally? There it is. There are the reinforcements coming in. And they will just barely save this base. Nice plays. So both bases defended. Both fourths up and running. And we're in a really stable place going into the 5-minute mark as we start to get into more of the mid-game. Start to see those tier 1.5 tech units, the Dragoons, Hydralisks. Unit complexity and sophistication, very important parts of Vanguard. Unit complexity wins games, so you have to keep that in mind. Sticking to one tech for too long is a dangerous thing to do. We're going to see Nomus King starting to add some tanks. We have the Ling Hydra from both of our Overminds. That's Zervis and Mr. T. And we're looking out for some kind of a push. Maybe around these upgrades, or getting enough siege tanks out is often a good time to make a push. 4 is an excellent amount of siege tanks. They might have to do a little bit of defending before they can move out, though. Let's see the reaction from Torque and Zervis. Yep. Ooh, he started to retreat for a second there. He's going to finish off that scout, maybe. This is a dangerous 2 versus 1 scenario. Zervis has to be so careful not to engage this army until his ally is there. Almost King Mr. T might have an opportunity to shave off a couple of units. Not too much. Nicely retreated. Also going to catch a couple of units out, and we do have the full flank. They need to engage together. They're having trouble coordinating right now. You can see that hatchery can be hit from here. We do have Vipers as the counterplay. Very nicely done. Zervis does love his Vipers, and they do good work for him, especially against these siege tanks. Nice spell on the tanks to get such a cost-efficient trade. These tanks with so much damage, so many kills on them at this point. And that's going to be hopefully enough room to keep this 5th base alive. The rocks, however, are already down. We're starting to see a counterattack move across the map. Units not really in position to defend, so it's looking a little scary. Nomus King starts to move in this direction. Now with its scout, all the forces moving to the left, we do see a tiny little force of Hydralisks that are going to be doing damage while this is happening. Siege tanks getting into position. We even got an ambush bunker coming down just to make sure that that's pushed out. But some worker kills over here and a little bit of damage. Even going to get another Hydralisk killed as well. Nice trades. Great use of attention. Even going to come in here and trigger that bunker for the cost of a zealot. Not an awful cost to pay. Those Molotov cocktails can do lots and lots of damage from those civilians. Come out of the ambush bunker. That is Rainer's special spell. Everyone's got their own unique spell. Each commander does. And that one is Rainer's. 5th base getting into position over here. And we are now 5 base to 4. But this army moving across the map is huge. Because of the speed of those Marines, Rainer's Marines get extra speed. They were able to take a lot away from Torque's army there. Uh-oh. And we have Zervis engaging without Torque. And taking a base during all this. Wow. This is a tricky scenario. This is going to be very hard to hold Zervis out of position for this fight. Torque engaging without him. And just Nomus King and Mr. T jumping on every opportunity they see where these two armies are not together. Just grinding out little bits of efficiency with each fight. Nice pulls with the Vipers onto those siege tanks. No more siege units left. A couple of tanks are coming in via rally, but so much damage is getting done. The Archon tanking for the Dragoons in the back. And this is mostly cleaned up, at least on the high ground. This is still going to be a very difficult base to hold. Oh man, unless he keeps killing all of the siege tanks and not losing any Vipers for it at all. Great moves from Zervas. These abducts are basically creating huge advantages for his team over many engagements, just being more cost efficient. And look at this. Very simple army over here. Just a couple of vultures, and otherwise it's only tier 1 units. Big speed boost coming in. Trying to catch these units. They are quite fast. Gonna put down a protective ambush bunker over on the right side, while on the left, Mr. T is gonna move in, try to kill this base. That's a lot of DPS. I'm going to melt it very quickly, but oh, are they gonna try to trap them? Ooh, this could be a difficult scenario. It's hard to move down those ramps against Storm. Oh, what a move! What a move! Mr. T just sends a few units this way and saves the rest of his army. Hopefully he can get over here to the fight against Zervas and Torque. But I don't know, this is just so much. Mr. T is running as quickly as he can with all of his army to help against this fight. For at this point, Torque and Zervas' army are gigantic. They are complex. The siege tank, great tool to deal with the lurkers. But there's not really any protection for the tanks against the Vipers, so that battle is really tough to fight. And Storm's landing on all of these Hydras, just pure Hydra army. Alright, units getting into motion over here, looking for a fight. And this orbital command is almost completely dead now. Nomus King and Mr. T are on the ropes. Only one army over here, but it's got a lot of, yep, a lot of Vipers, a lot of lurkers, and that's going to deal with your siege tank army almost all time, as long as you've got the right micro and they don't have any Goliaths or Vikings. Torque gonna move in onto this base again. He just keeps doing this. It's the same pattern. Just like, I move in, make sure they don't have a base here, and back up. And then you move in. And they've just been going back and forth over and over again. That might be the nail in the coffin. Alright, so we have an interesting development here. Zervas has a great position, but is now forced to fight 2 versus 1. While Torque gets his army back together. But the tech advantage, I think, is just too good. There aren't enough siege tanks to break this position. And again, not enough protection for any of the siege tanks or even the science vessels at this point, running out of siege tanks to abduct because he's killed them all. Oh my god. And this is just such a perfect example of a unit complexity advantage. They just can't engage into it. And that is it. GG, well played, Zervas, and Torque will be moving on. Thank you, Mr. T and Nomus King, for your participation. And that's it. We'll see you in the next game.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vanguard Monthly, the 3rd monthly tournament in a series of monthly tournaments that happen on the 2nd Sunday of every month. My name is Thomas JaKaTaKtv, and we'll be doing the cast of Lilykanin and Space Marine, also called Kebab King here, versus Torino and Spacey Mazy. Starting things off, we do have Lilykanin building a forward barracks. This is going to be more for opportunist type activities rather than a full-on rush. There's not a lot of risk involved in placing the barracks out here because you can just lift it up and bring it home. An ambush bunker already getting set up. I want to take a look to see if the Zerglings bump into that. So far, they will be going down. Spacey Mazy just opening up with a single spawning pool. 32 supply of lings, and oh, this drone should trigger. Nice, and that will delay the expansion just a bit, depending on how long it takes Spacey Mazy to realize what has happened. Not too long. Drone goes right back out. He's going to wait until these guys finish off. In the meantime, we have Zerglings moving right across the map to start attacking this base. Here should be pretty close to a cancel. It's going to be tough to calculate. Looks like Spacey Maze is going to go for a little bit of the engagement with a couple of the workers. The Zerglings rather chasing the worker. Nice. Very nice ambush bunker placement over here. Will get triggered by a single Marine, however, while the rest of the army goes around. This buys a little bit of time to get damage on the Nexus, but overall it looks like... No, it looks like not going to be able to get this base. Excellently tried. Just phenomenal early game defense from the Lucanian Space Marine, and they are in a phenomenal spot right now, having defended that, and their base being earlier than Spacey Macy's over on this side. We're going to check this out just to make sure there isn't any sort of early fifth. We'll have to see if Lucanian Space Marine decide themselves to go for the earlier fifth now that they've taken a pretty cost-effective early engagement. Sneaking around with some Centurions over here. Kebab King playing Zeratul, or was it Vorazun? Ah, Vorazun. Vorazun has those extra special Void Rays, and also the ambush ability on the Centurions is a bit stronger. They're coming forward here, and very mobile composition from Torino. We can do a bit of kiting, take down these Centurions in short order. And things are beginning to normalize. Early fifth, taken by Space Marine Lucanian. They'll be first in position to have taken that. And, oh my god, is this going to get scouted right away? Yes, yes indeed, scouted right away. Not going to do anything about it just yet because he's stuck. No, not because he's stuck, but because the Vultures just don't do a lot of DPS. Oh, no! He's on a move command. Going to lose at least one of these Vultures. Two, and the rest of them do manage to get out of there. Super low hit points. They are somewhat expendable. They're relatively cheap units. As you can see, we have two Rainers in this game. Lucanian also playing Rainer. Hydras are going to come by. Much better for taking out a base. I'm going to focus down on guaranteed damage first, killing all these workers. Very conservative play. In the meantime, we do have an attack on the opposite side of the map. Lots of back and forth action already starting. Haven't even hit the 5-minute mark yet. Nice place for an ambush bunker. Gonna kind of trap these units in here. Bait them back into the ambush bunker. Nope, not gonna happen. Meantime, this base going down. All right, and Space Macy cancels the bottom left base. Base in the top right. We're talking about the low Vulture DPS against buildings, and here it is. This is taking quite a while. Some Void Rays in the mix. Bunker triggered. It looks like it's going to be just one Void Ray traded out. Finally, the forces of blue have come. And they'll be saving this expansion just barely. In quite a nice spot. Two gases killed by these Banshees. Almost taking out that command center. Would have been very valuable to get a cancel on that. Slowing down the expansion rate. And we have everyone sort of pushed back to their own side for a moment as the Void Rays begin to work their way over to the left side of the map. And the Corsairs are having their way with the Banshees. Nice save over there. Voids will get into position. We haven't seen too many Void Rays in playtesting. People have been avoiding them mostly. But we'll see. Clears out the workers. Ooh, that extra range on the Shadow Cannon you're seeing there as Vorazun's special perk. Bringing them a little bit closer into the higher energy Void Rays. Making some nice trades there. The tension here is very, very high. Space Marine's spending a lot of time microing these units and getting the most out of them. And it's paying off. Aggressive base. Very forward base taking this location. It's probably not been scouted. Let's take a look. Nope, none of these bases have been scouted at all yet. Ooh, we have another drop. Is this the drop that finally kills this base? Does he come to finish it off? Ooh, lots of fast-moving units come in. Deflected away. Not too much in the means of killing that completely, but Void Rays try to go in for a second move. I almost said Hunter Killers. Sky Killers. Going to finish them off. The long-range anti-air unit that morphs from the Hydralisk. And we have some more harassment. These workers are constantly being harassed. They must call their HR representative right away. This is unacceptable. Ooh, big Hydra Sky Killer army starting to move in. We're going to get a trade of the bases. Looks like no. Ooh, almost killed the... Oh, the dropship makes it out. Just barely. Oh, no, it doesn't make it at all. Another destruction of base in the bottom left, and somehow this red hatchery keeps surviving. So valuable for Spacey Mazy and Torino. However, this Lancer force, the tech switch has occurred, and these Hydras have to run immediately. Not too much you can do against the Lancer when microed well. In a Hydra composition, you can make lurkers. They get outranged by the Lancers. And the Hydras and Sky Killers, you have to have quite a few to be able to move in on a pack of Lancers. But if they're totally unsupported, it's definitely something you could do. These Marines, however, dissuading the attack ever so slightly, but just enough to make it happen. Lancers are out of position. Can they take a one-on-one fight? Hydra Sky Killer versus Bio. And a liftoff happens here, and it's all air units. These Lancers are just walking around, not getting anything done. However, this could cue a potential sandwich attack. A lot of these Lancers are getting heavily damaged. But yeah, it looks like it's just too much. Didn't even really need the Marines for that fight. Lancer just so powerful anti-ground. Especially when you have no melee units to soak up the damage. Just this pure range versus range scenario, heavily favored for the Lancer. Oh my god, he's trying to kill this base again. Looks like not this time. By the way, Red Hatchery still alive. And ooh, we're going for a major fight. The siege tanks are not sieged. The Lancers are not ready and in position. Inspire on the troops, moving forward, as well as Wild Mutation. Big move forward, big attack here, but these Lancers are ripping apart the ground. The tech advantage is just so strong for Space Marine right now. A little bit of misrallied Hydras just to top it off. I'll rub a little salt in the wounds of that battle. Moving now on this forward base. Looks like he's managed to mine a decent chunk of minerals to start off. And we'll get this base canceled. Bottom left bases just keep getting destroyed. Over and over again. That was full destruction, by the way. Complete and utter destruction. And now there's just nowhere for these Hydras to go. By the way, some Vipers very cutely taking out a siege tank. Tension is being spent elsewhere. On the base! Oh, the Red Hatchery. Can Red kill the Red Hatchery? Oh, gonna focus down the drop. The drop does fall, and the Hatchery will live yet again. Torino has been so on top of his multitasking in this game, just constantly sending out units, picking off workers, dealing damage. Been very back and forth first game of this series. And, all right, the double yoink to kill a Lancer. We are getting this kind of split map versus split map type of scenario. These outside bases, very, very important. Very difficult to hold. So we do see the entirety of the blue army. Oh! Oh no, this is a pretty nasty 1v2 situation. And with those dangerous Dark Archons coming through. Look at that quick bio from Raynor. Gonna eviscerate all of those Hydralisks. And again! For what I think is the third time this base gets destroyed. Torino this time. Oh! Nice confusions on those Science Vessels. Are going to hold them in place until they die. Nice grapple forward. But is it enough? Lilyknin coming through with the sandwich. Trying to save some of these very valuable, very important Dark Archons. Managed to save 2 of them. And take down quite a few Science Vessels in the meantime as well. Things looking good for our professional StarCraft 2 Pro team of Lilyknin and Space Marine. Nice yoinks. Looks like they're going to take the engagement. Managed to take out quite a few siege tanks there with minimal losses. Very efficient. But their base is being denied again, and only 1 yoink left. Does get a Dark Archon. High priority target there. Siege tanks in the back trying to get out of range of those siege tanks. Really nice irradiates. And equally excellent splits. Look at this, splitting off of those irradiated units so they don't deal damage to the friendly area. Reinforcement, though, coming in from this right side is incredible. Such a difficult army to deal with after all of these trades. Torino and Spacey trying to figure out a way to fight this composition. So positional, so hard to move in on this group of units. Now they have the natural of Torino is under siege. Throwing in some healing as well. Very valuable when you can play this kind of style and throw in the healing structures. A couple of excellent snipes for the Hydralisks. You're getting positioned to do surround here. Attempting to coordinate an attack, but there's just so much. We're as zoomed out as we can get. We can't even get this whole picture here. All the units coordinating. Frigates coming in as well. You can see the tech upgrades never ceasing. A little skirmish over here. And we get another force, another bit of an attacking force over on the right side as well. Still waiting to make a move. Nice! Inspired Banshee is going to take out a couple of units. They do get confused, however, and start attacking their own buildings. Very confused thing to do. Nice move over, lots of spells, moving forward into this Lancer tank, but ultimately deciding to back off as the Boa Constrictor style of Lilyknin Space Marine comes through and just slowly choking the life out of Torino and Spacey. And that is it. GG, that's game 1. We'll have to see what happens next in game 2. Here we are spawning on Karina. Game 2. And that is 1 point to Kebab King Lilyknin. They are choosing Vorzun and Raynor again. Really liking the style. Getting it going. And Overmind Raynor as well. So people sticking to their commanders. That's one of the interesting things as this game gets going to think about, that there are 12 commanders to pick. And so it's a lot easier to multi-race, to try different races to be able to play them well. There's a lot more symmetry going on that allows you to switch between commanders and try different strategies and different ideas. So I'm curious how this is going to develop as a game, as Immortal comes out and all these things begin to develop. Do players only stick with one commander? They pick up 2, 3, or 4? I'd really like to see that kind of situation, but who knows? Maybe in the end, RTS players, they just like to stick to their one specialty and just do it really, really well. Ambush bunker over here, going to protect the Nexus. I think that was a... Yeah, that's a Nexus first right there. Nexus first plus ambush bunker, which is very strong in the beginning of the game and wanes with power as time goes on. Some Zerglings starting to get across the map. Poke around, mess with the spies a bit. See what's up. Maybe trigger this bunker. Oh, there we go. Nicely done. Is going to trigger that bunker, and I don't actually think they saw the barracks, but it's not too critical that they do. After all that, expansions are about even. It's a nice start to the game here. No one taking any super early leads. The Link's going to try to break down these routes. They do get scouted and will be pushed away. Whoa! Are they going to try to make an engagement out of this? Okay. Change their minds. The Rainer Marines are quite quick. They're quite quick. And so, if you don't have speed in your Zerglings, you're actually going to lose some on the way out. So we're going to see a couple get shaved off there during the retreat. Ooh, I'm going to come over here and maybe grab some Solnaga energy. Very nice. See what Torino can get done with these vultures this time around. He's got units to kite here. He can start picking them off. We do have an exposed base over here for Space Marine. Going back to work on those rocks. Vultures scouting around for any information. They do not see these two oracles fly across the map, get into position. And we'll be headed for that mineral line. Nice move here, though. Gets through the rocks. Going to focus down the cybernetics core. In the meantime, we do have some workers getting harassed and this base getting harassed as well. All of a sudden, a flurry of action. Oracle's still getting quite a bit done, dancing around in the main base. I don't think they have the DPS to kill the command center, especially when it's constructing and getting all that HP back. A couple of Goliaths come into play and do get some shots off, but Oracle going to fly away. Maybe it's the Centurion's turn to smack the rocks about a little. No? Just going to wait on the outside of the base for the time being. Oracles, by the way, do not use energy when they shoot. So you can just kill a hatchery. It'll take you a very long time, but you can do it. DPS. Oh, nice little bit of surround here. Going to kill both Goliaths simultaneously. And even be able to clean up some of these workers on their way. Very defensive maneuvers here from Space Marine. Not overcommitting with the Centurions one bit. Very classic Space Marine Lilicanim when they play this game. I don't know how they play other games. I haven't seen too many of their other games, but when they play this game is this very slow, suffocating style. Being very careful, not losing too much, being very cost efficient in the engagements, not throwing anything away. And with the Lancers coming in, that's really the tech linchpin of this army. Once you get those Lancers going, it's tough to beat them. Centurion's zoning away a lot of those Hydralisks. And this base is in a lot of trouble. This is a hill you don't want to walk up. You got these hidden Lancers up on the top of the hill, looking down upon everybody. They are just going to go for a counterattack. Should be able to get one base for one here. And the follow-up from here, there's no drop, so it should be relatively even after this ends, depending on the small bits, the small little adjustments here and there. Lancers starting to move in pretty early. Getting your Lancers into position before the fight starts, very valuable. See that whenever they stop, that progress bar starts, and that will give them hidden as well as additional range. Makes them very difficult to deal with. Nice stasis ward, slows down some of the incoming units, but overall, the sandwich is too strong. Nice pickup from Torino and Spacey. They really needed that. Let's take a look at their scouting information. Oh, they don't know about that base in the top center of the map. They are a bit behind at the moment. Gonna move in. Takes out the tank with only one shot going off. The spell getting cast. We do have Lancers coming into the battle. A lot of those Marines just moving around, not doing any damage. And the Lancers at the top getting so much work done. A very powerful anti-ground setup we're seeing here for Lily Kebab King. Lily Canine and Bob. Alright. Siege tanks now coming out. The next piece of the puzzle of the Kebab King, Lily Canine, Boa Constrictor puzzle. Stasis wards, siege tanks, lancers, eventually disruptors. Just makes it so hard to attack into. And then they just sort of slowly push forward, constrict the space that their opponent has to move around. And then they win the game. That's their style. That's what they've been up to for quite a while. Even past monthlies playing with a very similar style, maybe slightly different units, as the units have been buffed and nerfed and redesigned and changed since last month. Lancer just gonna go defend this single vulture harass. Does manage to get 2 workers for a damage vulture. Value. Okay. Science vessel is starting to get into the mix. We are seeing a fusion core on the way as well. Very likely to see that top of the tech tree, the frigate, enter into play as the game gets later and later, and the early game units begin to fall off in their power and their ability to get work done. Hydra run by. It's gonna turn around these Lancers. Potential follow-up with this bio, we'll see. All the armies starting to move over into this top center area. Will they be able to jump on these Lancers and kill them before the other army appears? Lily Canine is coming in to help, but will it be in time? Looks like the cleanup on the bottom. Will they be able to trade out for, I don't know, not too much damage done in that fight. Did manage to give some space for this really nice attack. 2 command centers over here. If they can kill both of them, that would be amazing. So hard to push up into this ramp with the lurkers sitting there. They will kill off most of those units there before too much damage gets done. The Hydras kind of shooting down all over the place, focusing on workers at the moment, bringing the worker count quite low in this area. A couple of Hercs maybe looking to propel their way into this base. Yeah, there you go. They're going to start to the harass. In the meantime, there has been harassment going down here for quite a bit, but it looks like Spacey has managed to get that critical mass of Mutalisk. When you have them in the low numbers, they do almost nothing, but it's starting to get into that combat situation where you have enough mutas where you can just fight. Look at the lack of anti-air in this army. They're going to move forward. They're going to snap the neck of a single tank. Of a second tank, maybe? Oh, God. JaKaTaK, why? Coming over and, wow, killing all the tanks. All the tanks are dead. Frigate's going to come in over here and start the cluster rockets, shooting in every direction. But there's a lot of different targets, a lot of things to shoot at here. So they do kind of reach their limit as far as area of effect damage goes. Not quite area of effect, but it does have that same feel to it, that same utility of an area of effect. I believe it shoots at 20 targets, up to 20 targets. There is a hard number somewhere in there. Man, these mutas have been so valuable, just moving around, trying to pick off high priority targets, high gas count targets as the game continues on. Bit of a run bias happening while this engagement is going on, but the problem is so much of the army is not here to fight. This main engagement, Torino and Spacey Mazy are behind in supply. If they lose this game, they're out of the tournament. It's single elimination, best of threes all the way through. They need to figure out a way to come back. Killing this base is a good start. They can delay this push long enough for their rally advantage to kick in. They might be able to make it happen. Let's find out. Nice reinforcements. Taking out the reinforcements on the way. Another great way to deal with that. Zealots versus Hercs over here. The Zealots can do quite well. Continuing to push in is Torino and actually forces a little bit of a retreat. It's going to buy the red team even more time. And it's Attack of the Drones over here, Spacey. Spacey seems to have had some extra drones after losing this base. Just so much. Look at the mini-map. Blue and teal all the way through. Not very much red and orange left. Nice bit of a run by, though. They keep this harassment up. Non-stop. Non-stop. This army keeps trying to push in for the win, but then it's got to retreat to deal with all this harassment. Ooh, these Void Rays, though. Nice deflection. Will save the base with a lift. And they can actually see that ambush bunker. They should be able to kill it before it triggers. Oh, didn't focus fire. So it will go off and delay some of the positioning of the units. Nice bit of a surround here. Nice 2v1. When you're playing with a Zerg and a Rainer, they're very mobile. You get a lot of these 2v1 situations, but oh my god. It's that top of the tech tree. The Tempest has entered play. And no one on the red team is happy about that. Gonna retreat back to this high ground and fight to their very, very last, but this is a double maxed out Lily Canadian Space Marine with tons of money in the bank to remax if necessary. They don't even really need to be cost efficient here, but they're such careful players that they do make sure they don't throw games. The very slow style has led them to a lot of success in the past, and it's continuing to lead to their success here. Look at this positioning. The Lancers being controlled separately, zoning this whole position out so none of these units can go up the ramp to engage, to participate in the fight. Just taking off small chunks of their enemy at a time until the GG is called, and that's it. GG, well played. 2-0, Kebab King and Lily Canadian win first quarterfinals, and they'll be moving on into the semifinals. See you there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first semifinals in the Vanguard Monthly number 3. My name is Thomas JaKaTaKtv. With me is Ace. How you doing, Ace?
I'm doing quite well. How about you, Jack?
Doing awesome. Fun times, as Beastie Cutie says, are about to ensue. Learning a lot. Spawning, by the way, in the top left, we do have Beastie Cutie and not QXC. This time it's Granus. QXC was ill and had to duck out at the last moment. Granus being awesome and filling in. And in the bottom right, we've got Zervis and Torque.
Oh. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the team playtester, Torque being a common playtester, actually these are pro playtester splits on both sides here.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that Beastie Cutie has been playing Vanguard for quite a while. He'll pop in and out, and you know, he'll play usually the days leading up to the monthly tournament, and that's about it. But Zervis is a professional StarCraft 2 player that playtests with us quite a bit. He's been showing up more and more recently and starting to get some early aggression going on here with the Zerglings.
Yeah, he went for the double spawning pool opening. And
Oh, wow.
Since the changes are in this, I believe, is the first tournament that we've had the spawning pool instead of Overlord changes in.
Yep, that's correct.
And so that is a 4 Overlord opener. Very, very aggressive start from Zervis.
Yep, 64 supply worth of Zerglings possible here, and he is continuing to crank them out. When you do that build, ooh, nice surround! And burns the spell, too. They got almost no value out of that Chrono.
Wow, really great surround there by Zervis. With that early aggression, he's likely going to be able to heavily pressure the natural expansion here, Beastie QT.
Yep, and getting into position, moving forward, and just kind of zoning out. Bleeding off a lot of Lings at the moment, but more and more are coming in. That Xel'Naga turret is actually doing quite a bit of damage to Zervis here.
He has stopped Ling production here, and the good control of Beastie QT, as expected, will be enough to clean up this push and allow Zervis to expand.
Yeah, and this is... It's not Nova, but I think it is Dominion. Is this Warfield? Got the, I think, target mark there as the custom spell. I actually haven't seen this from Beastie QT.
No, he's usually a Protoss player, and so he's picking up the QXC reins and playing Terran, so that Granos, a resident Protoss, can play.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because Granos plays pretty much only Protoss. So I wonder if BCQD was thinking, all right, 2 Protoss is not the style that I want to play. Protoss and a Terran will work much better. When you have that variety of units, a lot of times you can get a little bit more valuable combinations. Move command Zerglings, gonna lose at least a couple here.
I don't think he expected the army to be here, and all of a sudden
certainly
it's
not.
Aggression time.
Yep. The goons, though, have range. The goons of Torque do, and that's going to be able to push away pretty much all of this aggression. Early 5th base from Beastie QT, so they will be a little bit on the defensive. Took a very optimistic Aegis gun over here. Will cancel it, and Scout front is going to be able to see the position of the army, and things are getting a little quiet.
Yep. Looks like we'll be seeing Beastie QT go into that starport play. I wonder if he's going to go into the Wraiths that QXC is so well known for, or some kind of other tech choice.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, we do see some Diamondbacks coming out. Diamondback is basically like a ground liberator, for those of you who haven't seen Vanguard before, but instead of shooting a circle, shoots in an arc. And it is basically their version of the siege tank. A little bit different way to control space, but very powerful when it is sieged up. Zergling's going to poke ahead here, get some vision of this main attack path. Take a look at the army, and not really something you want to go into with that little clutch of Zerglings.
Now, do we know what commander Zervis is playing? Is he on Overmind or Abathur?
Let's take a look. Overmind. He's got that adrenal burst. And the refund Zerglings, the recyclings, as I like to call them. Love them.
My favorite. That was the greatest. That was a great meme. As we see a push up here from Granos and Beastie QT to defend, and done quite well with the addition of the Diamondbacks.
This is a really good start with them. They're getting their 6th base. They've delayed, Zervis and Torque have delayed their expansions quite a bit. And they've defended multiple times now. Oh, this is Nova. This is Nova. As soon as you see the dropship, you know that it's the Nova dropship. Everything underneath it is hidden, and it is itself hidden as well. But the trade-off is you don't get the speed boost. So you can be stealthy, but you cannot also be fast. And that is the Nova commander, or at least one of her perks. We'll get to see if the other ones show up or not.
Yeah, with the removal of overlords and the addition of hidden dropships, Nova's drop capability, especially against Zerg, is actually really, really strong. So it excites me to see Beastie QT bring out this kind of style of play that we're going to have to see Zervis deal with.
Yep, it is tricky. We do have the drop coming in right around the time of engagement. Very, very nicely coordinated here. Looks like he will be waiting out on the outer edge and is out of vision. I'm going to take out this rich mineral protection real quick and start working on the rest of the thing. There's not too much to kill here. Remember, As well, we have a new setup where if you lose your supply structures, your spawning pools, your barracks, etc., you don't actually lose the supply. All supply you get, you gain permanently. This is to encourage players to use, you know, their buildings as walls, and just to kind of help the whole annoying situation of being in red supply.
Yep. Dropship got cleaned up quite quickly, though. Didn't even take a Viper pull or anything. The Overseer included with the army by Zervis was a fantastic pickup and allowed those 2 dropships to go down pretty much without any damage dealt.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things I like about the commander system is that if you know, as these players do, which commanders you're facing against, if you're going against a Nova or a Zeratul, getting those earlier Overseers into your build before even finding out that they have cloaked things, usually going to be advantageous for you, as we have a little 2-on-1 situation. Zervas running away, Torque getting into position to engage, but that ramp is wide open, and we're going to start to see BCQT and Granas try to take control of his high ground. We've seen this many times on this map in the high-level play. It's a very advantageous position to hold. He's got to get sieged up quickly here. And nice Viper pulls down to the low ground. Chrono on all of the Dragoons. Flank coming in from the left side, but they're not engaging together. This is looking good so far for BCQT and Granas.
Diamondbacks getting sniped in the back now, but not quite enough. Only 1, maybe 2 goes down, and 2 remain, along with a good handful of Dragoons from Granas. This could be a very, could be even a lethal blow.
We
to
have
the side of Team Fire.
Yeah, we've got the rally advantage coming in. This does get cleaned up, and something I want to note that there wasn't too much damage that actually got done. This battle may as well have happened in the center of the field. No buildings were killed. No economy was harassed. So overall, just an army trade there.
Yeah.
And tricky to tell, but I feel like Blue may have gotten the better of that.
Yeah, Losses tab has teams relatively similar. I know that can be a little bit unreliable in the Vanguard, but it is a good idea nonetheless, as a couple Dragoons get a bad pathing and pick off by Torque. It's a good pickup there for Team Fire. But yeah, an absolutely good point that fight basically occurred in open space there. It just happened to be that the open space was Team Fire's main base high ground.
Yep. And is a very, very interesting position. We've seen it over and over again, players trying to get up into that position quickly, making it important. A little bit of harassment over on the left side. It's really important to note that Zervis' expansion over here has been scouted. It's very forward, very vulnerable. We do have Torque focusing down an expansion of his own.
Yep. Now it's how well will he be able to escape with his expensive spellcasters. This is a one-on-one style situation. As BCQT does not have much of an army here.
Oh, Viper Pulse coming in, going to rip all of these units out of siege mode. Not quite enough pulls to make it all the way across and break the position, but a little bit of damage as Zervis gonna join his ally, looks like, in the center area. That base on the left bottom, very vulnerable. Gotta be careful about it.
Yep. Incomes are starting to favor Team Fire, though. They've got about 300 more or so minerals a minute, essentially 1 more base up, and another 100 gas a minute. So starting to see a late game advantage start to build for Zervis and Torque.
Yep. And this is one of our more macro-oriented maps. We tend to see games go at least to the beginning parts of the late game, if not deeper into the area. We usually see the main bases mined out pretty quickly. Nice pulls from the Viper there. Very cost-efficient engagement for Zervis, just continuing to grind out efficiency over here in the top left. Torque not really able to get anything done in the top right, however.
Yeah, it's really starting to pay off for him. If you look at BCQT's total army supplies, only at 154, and he's behind pretty much everybody else in the game except for Zervis. And so I think these incremental advantages are really going to start working out for Team Fire.
Yeah, BCQT with not a lot of options to burn all of that extra gas, is starting to mix in the ghosts. Very, very powerful lockdown ability. especially if you can make enough of them so they're hard to dodge. Good pulls coming in. We do see the Overseer getting hit there just for a bit. Oh, nice flank manual charge in with these Zealots. This is such a good engagement. Excellently done by Torque there, using the positioning, the manual charge of the Zealot to cut off the retreat path, and that is a full rout of the enemy army.
That was an absolutely beautiful engagement. The Zealots manuals charged in, got behind the army, held it in place like a good group of Zerglings would, except they're very bulky, and allowed the Dragoons and Hydras to finish that off with relative ease.
Oh man, and now the Ultralisks are barreling down this gigantic fire army coming across, pulling the dropship, because why not? That sounds like a lot of fun. Ultras crushing through and doing their thing, just soaking stupid amounts of damage while everyone else in the army gets to do their damage for free. GG, well played. That's game 1, and we're going to go on to game 2 next. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to game 2. We do have, of course, the lead here for Turk and Zervas. And spawning in the top right are our leaders at the moment. Up 1-0 in this best of 3. Turk and Zervas, and in the bottom right, we've got Granas and Beastie Cutie going for double Protoss this time around. Looks like, ooh, that's Vorazun for Granas. And then we have Phoenix for Beastie Cutie. Another Overmind, which is to be expected. Zervas kind of just sticks to Overmind for the most part. And another Phoenix. So lots of Phoenix in this series so far.
So Jack, talk to me. What's one of the most defining features of Arash here?
The most defining feature about Arash is that you don't get your naturals for free. You take a map like Summer Palace that has 5 bases effectively for free on the high ground, and this is the extreme polar opposite, right? You get 2 bases on the high ground, and that's it. From there out, you're on the low ground with wide open spaces, and oh my god, we got a lot of Zerglings and Zealots running across the map to cancel a base, very likely.
Yeah, and Beastie Cutie decided to go Nexus first on this map, which has been punished.
This is such a classic playtester versus professional situation where the playtesters know Arash is an aggressive map, and Beastie Cutie apparently did not get the memo or decided to gamble. Either way, 1 to 2 base cancellations are going to happen here. There's not a lot of units to fight this off at the moment. Just a few Zealots here and there. And this is looking absolutely disastrous as Torque takes a base behind this. Good fighting in the choke, trying to get the most out of this, delaying if possible. The rally advantage is powerful if you can survive long enough for it to kick in.
Yeah, 1 red base was lost, but I think this will be cleaned up relatively quickly. But we don't have a 4th base come down from Zervas. Instead, he's taken his time and tech to an incredibly fast lurker den.
Ooh, wait, did he even get... Let's check the upgrades. No, he didn't even get either upgrade for the Hydralisk. We do have range and speed separated in Vanguard. And he's gone right to lurkers.
This is something crazy.
Yeah, this is one of those like, oh, do I want to steal this build moment, you know?
I know. He opens gas, pool, does some aggression, goes gas lair immediately, hydrogen, lurkered right after, and it could be a lurker timing push to follow up. Really excited.
Yep, couple of lurkers getting out already. Pretty even gas and mineral spending for Zervas, so he's gonna have a nice little mix here of hydras and lurkers. As we are in a little bit of a brief silence in between moments of noise.
How poetic.
I went to school for music. I think about everything in terms of sound.
That's fantastic. Zervas goes ahead and takes his 12 o'clock top center base here. So he finally chooses to expand, and that will be met with a
Ooh.
slightly faster base from Granas.
This is full Lurker. He's morphing every Hydra into Lurkers, and now he's starting to reinforce it with Zerglings. This is a cool style. Almost pure Lurker Ling. And, oh, this base is so oh my god, this base is in giant trouble. On the other side of the map, this base is in giant trouble. We do have a base trade on our hands, not in the traditional sense, but they're each going to get one base and probably go home. We already have Zervis getting ready to defend the continued attack. Base is killed, and ooh, look at this. Torque and Zervis going right up the ramp. This may be a little bit of an overextension, and it doesn't seem to be particularly coordinated. Zervis kind of hanging out in the front, not really committing to the push up the ramp. All of the red and orange units getting sent home right now to defend this. Those Lurkers on the high ground should be very good to prevent. Oh no, but they get completely separated, and the Lancers focus them down. Very nicely done there by Granas. That's exactly the tool that you need to deal with Lurkers. The Observer as well, don't forget, from Beastie Cutie, making all of that possible.
Oh, what a fantastic timing for those Lancers to come out. Granas did have that tech building available to him. 3 Lancers popped out and immediately changed that engagement. Really, really well done there.
Yeah, Lancer's one of those critical moments of tech. And we are seeing the return. More counterattack. This is just a complete back and forth game, very scrappy, the kind of game we tend to see on Arash. Chrono and Wild Mutation all over the Lurkers and Dragoons. They're gonna try to hold this. The Lancers and Immortals doing so much damage. The Immortals living up to their name, just eating large amounts of damage and shrugging it off as if it were nothing. Overall, I think it's gonna be a very cost efficient. Oh my god! Look at the Immortals! I thought it was over. The Immortals do so well against Dragoons. And it's interesting, too, we haven't seen too many Immortals like in past monthlies or in playtesting too much, but very, very recently, since the Commander update, they've started to come into fashion, and I can see why.
Yeah, that Hardened Shield ability with, I believe it's Phoenix, stays around for a while after it starts moving, and so that's really allowed it to become its real namesake. It becomes so strong, so tanky, keeping that Hardened Shield around for a couple more seconds after moving.
Yeah, and we have this just prolonged 3-base versus 3-base fight going on. Zervis sending some units over to check if that expansion was retaken. It was not, as we see this main engagement. Xel'Naga energy low, so not too many spells in the fight for the time being. And I think that Granas and BC just have the better composition here.
Yeah, they continually are winning out again with Dragoon Immortal Lancer over Dragoon Hydra. It's just continuing to work as a fortification goes down and immediately picked up by Beastie Cutie.
Oh, are they going to go just right up the ramp and try to end it? It looks like they are. Will they make the same mistake? Ooh, very nice move here. Excellent retreat. Not making the same mistake that Torque and Zervis made on their side of the map, losing their army too quickly and allowing this whole counterattack chain of events to occur. And now, oh, look at this. The hold position Lancers at the bottom of the ramp going to make it so difficult for Zervis to move down. Look, goes down to try and defend his base and is immediately forced back. And just 4 Dragoons off to the side. All that's necessary to kill this base and create an incredibly desperate scenario for Zervis and Torque.
Yeah, they didn't have vision of that base until the creep just peeked up as Beastie Cutie moved some Dragoons to the right, and then he was like, well, I guess this is a free base to kill. And sure enough, it should go down with minimal problems as all the drones go down fighting.
Nice little caveat you might have saw there. Shades, Adept Shades are targetable in Vanguard. They're not immortal. You can't just throw them around for free. They do have to be able to survive damage to make it to the other side. And more harassment over here on this side of the map. And oh, Zervis keeping this hatchery in his control group to produce units. It could be the death of him, or it could be this brilliant move where he gets a nice surround if he can wrap around and get into a good position. Oh, look at that Lancer Observer combo. Just crushing the lurker tech of Zervis. He really needs something else at this point.
Yeah, I really like the idea of him basically temporarily breaking the contain with those larvae there, and being able to get those units free. But you're absolutely right, Jack. There has to be something to break this insane Lancer Dragoon Immortal just death ball that's sitting outside their ramp.
Yeah, and the problem really is from this blue team is we're not seeing, and maybe they just can't afford it, we're not seeing any new tech. They need something different, I think, to be able to break out of this. Sheer brute force is not going to cut it with this kind of positioning. Nice counterattack, however, all those units that got spawned at the other map, like you said, they're free, and now they're free to come over here and do some damage, kill the rich mineral protection very quickly. And starting to do a little bit of economic damage. The problem is, though, a lot of things have been delayed, and this will get cleaned up now. Those rich mineral protectors just buying the slightest bit of time needed for some reinforcement units to come out and clean up that attack before too many workers were killed. Do keep in mind that rich minerals do mine faster, just as in StarCraft 2. So you have to be quite careful about protecting your main base. It is more valuable than the expansions, not just in number of patches, but in rate of mining as well.
Now here we go. Zervis is breaking out of here with an Overseer drop into the bottom left.
Yep, very nice move. We're going to have the Hydras try and burst this down. The army's in position, but importantly, the base over here from Granas was scouted during all of that. It's the perfect move, right? You come up, you establish this contain, you don't walk up the ramp and lose your army, you have the superior position, and now you can look, that base gets defended, this base over here in the center left gets taken, no problem, and your opponents are still just hanging out on two base. They could sit here forever, never walk up that ramp and be totally fine. We do see tech, though, coming into play. The Viper is their solution to try and break out of this. They'll need some detection. There might be a bit of observer wars to break out from these Lancers.
Yeah, only recently have more anti-air options been built for this siege contain. There's a lot of Reavers, a lot of Lancers still, but not a lot of anti-air. So these Vipers are going to go relatively uncontested. Maybe Mutalisks could go uncontested for a little while, but we'll have to see.
We'll have a couple of nice moves over here. Drops from Torque on the left side, and Zervis is taking a sort of sneaky base. Usually you take this as your third from that spawning position. However, just going to try to get the sneaky base off. When you're in this dire situation, you have to take big risks. Zervis is very much aware of that, is going to risk a lot in that. Harder to defend, but also more difficult to scout expansion in the corner, as the Torque cancels, or destroys rather, the base in the bottom left. So very nicely done there. More harass over here in the center left.
Cannons being added to the army in the front now.
Cannon, good unit.
Good army unit. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yo, you can't yoink them with the Vipers. They can you can grab Dragoons. You can grab all the other units, but you cannot grab the cannon. Just gonna go ahead and solidify this contain. We have an actual hard contain. Static defenses and structures involved. Service getting away with this base for the time being, and with all the harassment on the other bases, this has been getting closer and closer to an even economy fight. But still, much more harass needs to be done. Or maybe you just, I don't know, maybe you just try to elevator all your units out of here and attack from the sides. Like, this is just such a difficult position to fight head on. And now that it's been allowed to sort of grow and build in this position for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, this container has been going on for, let's play tower defense. Is that what that is?
That's what I would think. Yep, TD, tower defense.
Yep.
I agree. It'll be a cannon tower defense. They got the multi-shot anti-air upgrade as well, so the Vipers will be shot down in rapid form. Even Havoc's getting added to this army. They're accounting for everything except hidden bases.
Yeah. Oh, that poor pull, it just didn't quite make it up the ramp there, up onto the high ground. Elevator is in place. It's taking a little while for the elevator to be fully functional, but oh, this is a big bummer for Zervis. The sneaky base scouted. He's like, okay, it's all right. I'll take another, even less likely for them to scout base. But is it what the wait? Beastie Cutie is taking these bases over here. This is some silly stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see some. Oh, look at this Reaver over here. He's having a lot of fun. He's just spinning around. This dude's doing some breakdancing moves because he's got nothing better to do. He's like, we're doing a contain. Check it out.
Now, the entire army of Torque has been elevated down to the low ground, efficient with the Warp Prism because it has that ranged pickup and drop. It's actually quite easy to elevator him all down, and he is maxed.
He's maxed, but he's all maxed on just Dragoons. Will it be enough against this heavy tech army? So much splash damage in the form of these Reavers and Lancers, and he's fighting 2 versus 1. This wasn't coordinated with attack from his ally. He just lifted everything and got into a fight all on his own. Capitalize on that. Granas and Beastie Cutie just jump right on it immediately. Huge advantage for an already advantaged team.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what it's going to take for Zervis and Torque. I think that was their best opportunity when Torque had a maxed army. Greater Spire going down, maybe?
Okay, okay. Well, you see all these cannons, right? That's a lot of investment. So you just kill them with something that'll shoot from far away. You have some high ground advantage you can utilize. Very important for the... Wait, it's going to be... Right, Broodlords, not Guardians.
Yes, is Broodlords here. I want to point out Beastie Cutie's income is higher than everybody else in the entire game combined.
It's such a Beastie Cutie thing to do as well. He just loves having tons of bases more than everybody else. And you are seeing that cannon shoot out the extra shots. That is the cannon specific upgrade that you can get. Nice little confusion is going to land on some of the Hydras. Not super valuable, but at this point, you know, you take what you can get. You shave off a little bit of damage here or there. 4 Lancer hit squad over to the right side, going to start taking out some bases. And, I mean, at this point in time, they're just really banking on those Broodlords. Just a couple so far. He's going to need a lot to break out of this scenario. We do have a couple of Havocs.
Can't get anymore. It's over.
Wait, what was that?
They're out of money.
Oh God, they're out. They're straight up out of money. They've been contained so long, they've just run out of money. Whatever they have is what they have now, especially with these side bases getting cleaned up. If you're gonna make a move, you gotta make it soon, and you gotta do it together. As the Broodlords do start trying to break out of this contain. It's free units at this point.
Oh no, we have carriers. Carriers do pretty well against Broodlords.
Yeah, I've seen them do okay a couple of times.
Yeah.
Confusion will land on the Broodlords. Broodlords are going to attack their own buddies. Oh no, such a bummer. But they won't attack each other, so the Broodlords get to stay alive for that. But yeah, man, going in with air units, going into range against these splash cannons with air units is just total madness.
They
in the
needed
meantime,
this,
another base is canceled.
but they needed this several minutes ago. I feel like this would have been the better option than the Vipers. Oh, great confusion lands on every Broodlord.
Yep, gonna slow things down quite a bit. Confusion does get dodged there, but he's allowing the Broodlords to get in range of the cannons, which is unfortunate mistake there. Carriers are going to jump on this, and GG, that is it. It's 1-1 going into Game 3. We'll see you in a sec. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Game 3 of the second semifinals. Whoever wins this moves on to the finals in the Vanguard Monthly number 3 turn. Every second Sunday of the month, we have a little tournament. If you want to participate, you can participate. It's totally open. Anyone can play in it. Ace has played in it. How's it going, Ace?
Hi, it's going good. Games went Not didn't end up in my favor, but that's all right.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun. Got to watch some fantastic play. But hope to see more of that great play here.
Yep. That is the ideal scenario. Beastie Cutie getting greedy, and this is more of the Beastie Cutie that we know. The Nexus first, take a bunch of bases while your ally does some harass or makes some units and moves around. We'll have to see if that's a style they end up going for. Granas is starting off with 4 Zealots and going to double gas instead of an expansion for the time being.
And drops Cybernetics Core, so it doesn't look like an aggressive play. It seems more like either a tech play or just a Dragoons are good play.
Dragoons good play. I mean, that's memes. Memes are good. Memes are strong. These are things that we know. So a lot of late game potential here, getting set up for Granas and Beastie Cutie if they don't take any early game damage. We do have a small group of Lings out on the map, single spawning pool from Zervis. Can go out and get some map control, maybe gather some of the Xel'Naga energy out on the map by killing these towers.
Yeah, I've really liked these one pool expands style play. It's probably the greediest you can play as a safe Zerg. This map, Summer Palace, does incline itself a little bit more to a greedy style of play.
Yeah.
These initial bases are so easy to defend compared to a map like the one we saw previously, Arash.
Yeah, Arash is probably the most aggressive map in the whole map pool at the moment. Like you said, this base you have 5 bases in your sort of main area that you can utilize, and they're all on high ground, and they're relatively easy to defend. No other map has 5 bases, and no other map has double gas expansions in the corner either, so a lot of potential for high-tech games and unit compositions from the players, especially those who take the corner bases.
Mm-hmm. Do you see Granas moving across the map with the Zealots, picking up some Xel'Naga energy off the opponent's side of the map, and is likely going to escape with those 4 Zealots' lives, as Zerglings cannot catch anything unless they have the speed upgrade.
Yeah, he was there going into the into a dead end basically for a bit. Luckily, he was not followed. And these Zerglings will come through and get a little bit of scouting information. Nice cuts to the right, scouts that base. That's really the critical piece of information there, as Torque and Zervus do not yet have a 5th base. Their opponent's 5th base just finished. It looks like they're starting theirs in response. Keep up with that economy.
Yeah, really good scout there by Zervis. You take the uncertainty out of the equation for right now. You see there's no imminent pressure, and again, a sixth base now going down for Torque.
Ooh, yes. And this is a very, very good 6th base to take. I think most often teams will take this base as a 6th if they're really thinking about their expansions as a team. Which does tend to happen the higher skill you go. Pretty much the more coordinated teams will be up at the top, will get the better results, as that's more or less the skill set we've replaced macro with. So macro is pretty much automated. It's mostly about decisions, but now you have this new teamwork element, coordination with your ally to maximize the value of your army and get work done. And we're seeing a little bit of a pincer move from Turk and Zervus. Torque, top left, Zervus, bottom right with the units. See if they can get anything done here. Looks like he's just going to blind walk into the base. Essentially like face checking a bush in a MOBA. Turns around for a second, but he's going for it. Committing with all these Lings. He won't be able to get too much damage done, but he should be getting into the deeper part of the base. Look at all of this tech that he now has a good handle on. And we're seeing, in general, a lot of move commands. So, yeah. Scouting.
Great scout. Great scout there.
He sees that we'll probably be seeing Reavers in the future. That robotics bay gets scouted. Gives the Torque service team a little bit of time to respond to that, to get ready for that.
Yeah, the Reavers are going to be fantastic against the lurkers that Zervus has created now, and they are pushing along this second or the right side hallway, almost towards Granas's most forward base.
Oh man, look at these
natural
three zealots.
expansion.
They run by, get right into the natural base, or the third base, excuse me, of Beastie Cutie. This is usually the natural. Kills the whole worker line, starts working on the gas as well. Took quite a while for Beastie to respond, dealing with a skirmish out in the front and using the space and an observer to set up more harassment. A storm goes down to try to take out an observer. The observer narrowly escapes. Nice reaction time there from Torque, excuse me.
Not quite the zealot wraparound we've seen in the previous games that have been so crucial. Lurkers were there to make a great defense happen there. So
Yeah.
zealots really have a tough time engaging those lurkers, especially when you have 5 or more.
Well, and especially too when you have... Oh no, we're having some zealots come across. They start attacking the lone lurkers, I was just about to say. Lurkers all alone don't do so well kiting in the back. We've got that adrenaline burst focusing down all of the Reavers. Looks like every one of them will go down. And we were talking about army sophistication already. That's getting seriously hampered by Zervus with all those focus fires running into the safe embrace of the spines of the lurker.
That's where I like to be, Jack. This embrace of the deadly lurker spawns. Fantastic. Know where my Zerg heart lies.
Oh yeah, oh we got some very aggressive Dragoons trading out for Reavers. Great trade. It's the kind of things you want. Unsupported lurkers, however, will be taken out by these zealots. They need the support of their army. Unless you have 1,000 of them, in which case you better get some air units. But the critical mass was not reached. The zealots were able to get in on top of them, forced the lurker to not make use of most of its splash damage as they're shooting in every direction. Like most siege units, a good flank, a good surround is one of the best ways to have a cost-effective engagement.
Yeah, Defender's Advantage finally started paying off for Granas and Beastie Cutie as the Hydras go ahead and get picked off. They're able to reinforce, but during that whole attack, Torque just went and took the entire top left and made it his territory. And so he's going to have a huge economic advantage, especially with this corner double gas space that Jack was talking about earlier.
Yep, 7 base versus 7 base, the one difference being that double gas. We'll see if Torque can make use of it. Still a very close game by all accounts. However, all of these Dragoons in position, going to be able to take out this base, opens up an opportunity for a 2 versus 1 fight over on the right side of the map. These lurkers going to just barely hatch and get 1-2 shots off and kill nothing. Really nice pickup there by the red team.
Yeah, it cost them a base, which could cost them later in the game with that economic damage, but they do get a nice pickup in this next engagement for the lurkers. Vipers even throwing down that toxic nest to add a little bit more damage to those frontline zealots.
Oh my god, the abducts are all coming through, all but one Reaver dead. Big storms go down on the gateway clump. And this is looking, oh my god, the speed burst comes in, storms raining in every direction. The little auto attacks of the Vipers helping out as well because they're helping. And that is that. Armies cleaned up. Huge, huge win for blue team there.
Zervus' Viper play has been absolutely fantastic. This game and the entire series so far, this Hydra Viper composition has worked so well to displace these siege units that Beastie Cutie has been relying on so heavily, these Reavers, these Diamondbacks. It's worked very, very well.
Yeah. And if you haven't been convinced as an Overmind player to build some Vipers in your composition, let this be the series to teach it to you because it is so powerful, so useful, as Torque is just going to take another base. He's just going to take someone else's base. He's like, I ran out of bases that were mine, I'm going to take yours now.
Yeah, Zervus is convincing me. I need to try out some more Viper play. Zerg spellcasters fill my heart with happiness. As a Zealot run-by comes in to
look at this.
Base. Run-bys also make me happy. Look at this as the Zealots start taking taking down that Nexus.
Oh, it's going to be
Below
really
health.
close. Pulling the probes. Chronoing everything. Everybody's chronoing everything. Attack speed slightly buffed and movement speed. Running around trying to get this at the last. Oh, 133 hit points. The Nexus survives. That could have been almost game at this point. The economy of Red Team is so hurt right now that any big blow like that to a fresh base like this is incredibly dangerous.
Yep, we do see a couple zealots from BastiQt trying to do the same thing to Zervis, but nope.
Nice
Pretty.
Viper pulls there to save a couple of damages on the Nexus as well, on the hat trick, excuse me.
More Granis harassing the top left and Zervis harassing the bottom right as corner bases fall under assault as well.
Yeah, a lot of cannons in the top right base for Torque. Should be able to defend. The units will be able to defend on the other side of the map. And you're not crazy. You are seeing what you're seeing right now. Overseers are dropships. They are still detectors as well in this game. Nice pull as we see the carrier reveal. Not only do we have these high-tech Reavers that are so hard to deal with, but now we have the carrier as well. Huge fight going down. In the meantime, there is a bit of a run by Dragoon Archon Force fighting all of these spellcasters that are not casting any of their storms. There go the storms as the battle on the other side of the map begins to finish up, and attention moves over towards this natural base. Gotta keep that alive. Amazing flanks with... Oh my, he's completely stuck. He's totally stuck. It's a full surround by all of the Zealots. And now the Reavers and the Carriers come in to finish the job. Great engagement for Red Team. They really needed that.
Jack, that was 288 supply to 0. Back to 144 supply immediately as Torque is going to take that time to transition. But what a cost-efficient engagement there for Team Fire. And we'll see more go down in the right side here.
Yeah, not a lot of anti-air left. The pulls from the Vipers were solid, but it took quite a while for them to actually kill the carriers. And all the lurkers are lost as the cost for those two carriers.
Yep, they did also, they were able to snipe a base here, so BastiQt will have to re-expand to that kind of enclosed pocket position. Granis is now going to be, oh my goodness, the carrier transition of Torque.
Yep. If you can't beat him, join him. You have more carriers, you get to win the video game. If only carriers are on the field. So it's all going to be about that unit sophistication, having a complex army with different tools to solve different problems. Wonderful to see any Venerators to deal with these carriers, or just a little bit more leaning into the Dragoons, into the mix to deal with the carriers. Ultralisks coming forward, getting a little stuck behind the Hydralisks. And, ooh, the Vipers are getting pulls, but not getting too much done. Many Vipers go down as the Reavers hanging out around the corner there make it a very cost-efficient engagement. But Beastie's got to get home and help defend because a huge attack. So many Size Storms, feedbacks going down, and Storms as well. All of the High Templar completely disappear. And this is just too many carriers for the Dragoon count. Granis needs more anti-air, something better to deal with. And his ally can't help him because he's in a fight of his own.
Yeah, really fantastic double-sided assaults from Team Blue here. Torque's going to continue doing work on the Dragoons, and it's going to take until the Defender's advantage starts kicking in if they can hold it off. Recovery Shrine's also getting taken out.
More and more Dragoons being pushed out by Granis. 4 carriers still remain as the currently fighting Dragoons are falling down. The carrier reinforcement is going to come in and deal with this and push Torque away for the time being. Over on the right side, Zervis was thinking about moving in that base as Beastie's army is a bit out of position.
That base is just so hard to pressure as a Zerg, though. The Zerg.
I mean, it's hard to pressure. Period. This base is choked up like crazy, especially when you can really get a Sim City going, some gateways or barracks or whatever you have to block up those chokes. And when you're playing with the Ultralisk, that's not really the tool that's going to cut through these choke points particularly well, especially against High Dragoon count.
Ooh, now that the army's been seen away, though, Torque pulls Beastie Cutie's carrier fleet away, and Zervis is going to go in and do workers, a gas, and a fortification worth of damage.
Ooh,
So-
very, very careful play. Just doing enough damage as soon as the enemy army shows up, backing off, really respecting this very, very scary high gas count army from Beastie Cutie.
11 carriers out for Torque, 10 out for Beastie Cutie. All armies approaching maxed, and this could be a big engagement as 4 armies are colliding in the middle here with amazing Viper pulls.
Very good abducts, but follow-up damage not in range yet. Ultras are going to come through and do a little bit of damage soak for the front. Storms going down everywhere. Interceptors ripping apart all of the units on the ground. This is so difficult to call. But Beastie Cutie is going to call it. Oh my god, all the spells all at once land on the carriers as an effective GG for that moment in time. Well played. Torque and Zervis will move on into the finals. Here we are in the semifinals of the Vanguard Monthly number 3. $200 prize pool, and 12 players, 6 teams, trying to get that $100 first place prize. Ace and Daedra, the playtesters, in the bottom right, and the pros, Kebab King, Lily Kaneen, are in the top left on Karina, and pretty much Lily Kaneen just always puts his barracks out here.
Yeah, they're playing as the same commanders again, Raynor and Vorazin. Where Ace is playing as Overmind, and Daedra is playing Kerrigan, which is their usual combination.
Yeah, Ace has always been the Overmind.
Having some mix-up in the factions, even if you're going to go double Zerg, having the 2 different Zerg factions, the Monarch Brood and the Eternal Swarm, both represented.
That's gonna be fun.
Have Roaches and Hydras, potentially.
Yeah, the way Ace and Daedra play is Ace likes to go for very Ling heavy and is sort of the map control guy, while Daedra will go for the heavier units and have more of that head-on firepower added to their composition.
And we do have 4th going up for Looking Space Marine team. Nice bit of ambush bunker to slow the expansion. We'll get
A lot of
triggered.
shenanigans.
A fair amount of shenanigans are beginning to ensue. But we do have these quick marines.
Zalnagatar
Ooh, look at this!
hitting
A
that.
speed boost from the Zerglings. Going to try to get us around on the
Oh,
marines. He didn't upgrade speed. He just used his Zalnaga energy to get a quick boost there.
Oh, interesting. Ace is getting that early aggression, trying to kind of like kill the barracks and the tower.
Bit of damage
trading.
going off there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I don't know if-
a
I don't know if it
strat
was-
Ace
if
and
it
I
was-
pioneered, where you basically skip going for any sort of tech. Don't even care about getting fast speed. Just get more Zerglings early on, so you've got a bigger, healthier Zergling count, and just use that speed boost as a pseudo replacement.
And if
Oh, I
you've been
see.
watching these games and you're wondering, where are the overlords? We removed them. We said, overlords, they're dumb, let's get rid of them. No, there was slightly more reasonable decisions for that, but we're trying out some spawning pool as a supply structure instead of having a supply unit, and having the overseer as a buildable unit from the larva. So little change up. We like to try different things, see what works, see what doesn't.
Dim Stargates. Gonna see some Void Rays.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's interesting too because like for so long the Void Ray has been a very low use unit in Vanguard. Just hasn't really gotten up to that power level where
No.
people enjoy
Oh my god. 5 oracles.
5 oracles, yeah.
Oh my.
I don't think I've ever seen that many oracles built in a game of Vanguard before.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, like, you have to specify Vanguard because that's all about StarCraft 2 right now. It's all oracles all the time. A couple of roaches come out. They're very expensive units and they're hard to get out in mass early in the beginning of the game.
Is that some inner StarCraft 2 pros happening with the oracles right now?
They're channeling their inner StarCraft 2.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, they can kill roaches.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, not that many roaches.
Not that many roaches. But like I was saying before, it's tough to get a big mass of roaches out early on. They're quite expensive compared to the other
Yeah,
generalist units.
Expensive.
But they are very strong, very tanky.
He's just finding kills with these.
Yeah.
It's been 3
Well,
roaches
against that many oracles.
and 2 drones.
In the meantime, though, we have quite a bit of speedlings against only a few marines. Nice positioning.
Very nice.
Gonna morph a couple Banes right in his face. Like, come at me, bro. Oh, wow. Oracles
gonna
are
be
moving
cancel.
in. Oh, nice. Cancel. That's as much damage as he needs to get done. He can leave right now if he wants to. He does look in the front, sees that wall off, and goes home. Mission accomplished, base canceled, and the economic lead is going to start to flow over to our red team, Ace and Daedra.
I really like how much pressure these 2 teams are putting on each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ace is doing that, like, the Zerg, like, Ling aggression right now. With some Banelings mixed in there right now.
Yep. Nice little move over here. Again with the Oracles, getting a lot of value out of them. Devoting a lot of attention to them to get the value.
Needs more spores. We need more Static D. Where's the Static D game?
There's a spore in every single blue mineral base forced by those oracles. Not to mention the damage those oracles have already done.
Yeah.
But Travis, there aren't 5 spores, and that's why I'm
Oh,
upset.
okay.
That's
All right?
what I
You're right.
mean. Like,
Okay.
we need more
18
Static
spines
D.
in the front, 5 spores per base.
An oracle should not be allowed near creep. I get
That's
it.
right. That's right. If you only make Static D, they'll never be able to kill. Look at this. Nice move from Lightning, completely denying the base up here. Just quick little run play.
That was a bait, actually, with the bio being nearby.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and we're getting into it now. The siege tank is in the back.
Oh,
Oh my
those
god!
stasis wards!
Phenomenal
my.
stasis wards. Focus fire down, though, on that Lancer. Gonna pick it off before it's
Ow.
too late. In the meantime, though, just tons of damage have come from these vultures up on the high ground. They've been just sitting there doing damage the whole battle.
Yeah, they have been, actually. Not been good. Full of hatchery. All that gas.
Yeah, you can see how these roaches are just such a linchpin of the strategy of Daedra Ace. These roaches are just so good at managing these head-on fights.
He's
With their
just
versatility
rushing
and
across the
microability.
map right now. He's speedy lings.
Oh, the oracles are going to scout it.
Oh, but the oracles are like, nope, lings. What are you doing here? Get out of my video game.
Yeah, we don't have the Nike Air upgrade yet for the Zerglings, where they can just jump and like do a kickflip and destroy an oracle in one hit. But
Travis, make it happen.
Oh snap! Look at these vultures.
Oh, those poor Zerglings were baited into that. Ugh.
oh, the oracles though getting pulled into the fire of the roaches. A couple of them go down
those
pretty
roaches
quickly.
By Daedra. Nice roaches from Daedra, though.
Defiler's waiting for
This
the
is
right
gonna
moment.
change everything once these defilers get committed to the next big fight.
Oh, they're huge. It makes such a big difference. Both of their spells, Plague and especially Dark Swarm,
Yeah, Dark Swarm.
makes a huge difference in engagement, especially with all these melee units. Dark Swarm goes down. It does not completely negate damage, but reduces it by 50%. And that can really guarantee that your Banelings are going to get the hits off and your units are going to stay alive longer. It protects your roaches. It just synergizes perfectly with everything. Huge power multiplier.
Yeah, the tech is going to be massively in favor of the Zerg.
They have
if
to
they get
engage
the proper
together, though.
connections.
Army's going a bit north for our red team while the rocks go down. It does get scouted by that creep colony.
So many oracles.
Ooh, nice move here. The Zerglings move forward to try to bait out any potential stasis wards, learning from the last engagement. But they're starting to move up on the high ground now. This is going to be difficult engagement. Initial plague goes down, leaving a lot of wounded Marines, and then they take the engagement. You see that Dark Swarm going down. Baneling's making connections. Focus fire from the Roaches, taking out a lot of these Lancers. Siege tanks are all covered in goo, releasing. Oh my god. I didn't even see the Infestor. Oh my god.
It's beautiful.
So just to recap real quick, the Infestor throws down a spell that does some damage, and when the unit gets killed, it turns into Locusts. So the combination of Plague to get the units low, and then the next spell to get the rest of the job done, spawning tons of Locusts, all of a sudden, huge spike of power for Red Team.
Oh, Ace trying to kill the Nexus, but there are Oracles coming into the Zergs.
They're at least gonna get these workers down.
Yeah. They're still gonna do lots of damage.
Probably the gas as well. Roach moving across the map. Very optimistic Roach movement over here. As the disruptors move in.
Disruptors have hit the field.
This is another one of those big game changer units.
Oh, Mutas as the counter to the Oracle have finally come in.
Oh yeah, I just saw the Mutas go in.
Guarantees a dead base.
Nexus. Yeah, goodbye Nexus.
Not even just a counter to that, but again, remember Kebab King just doesn't build anti-air. Oh wait, I say that. He's queued up 5 Corsairs. Never mind, we're all set. He's got anti-air.
They really want to kill that poor little small host. Oh, goodbye.
God, look at this sledgehammer.
Oh my god. This is disgusting.
This is crazy.
What do you even do against something like that?
Oh, this poor little Zax.
All the army is so far away from the action right now. Just these small group of Lings and the Defilers.
Daedra coming in.
Ooh,
setting up
from
for
behind.
a perfect surround.
Starting to focus
surround
in
from
the
behind.
siege tanks. Takes out 3 very quickly. The Defilers are starting to look for a spot. Oh, EMP on, I think, just one of the Defilers. Gotta be really careful for those EMPs. You lose energy on your spellcasters here as the Zerg team, and you are done.
Yeah. 3 Roaches are trying to kill the command center in the left side of the map, the bottom base on the left. But the Marines have noticed. 2 Marines versus 3 Roaches.
Again, holding this high ground inside their opponent's base. Kebab King Lukanine making it work.
It's so hard to take this engagement. You have to be so careful before you actually pull the trigger.
Parasite Cluster goes down on a lot of the units. However, oh my god, the disruptor shots exploding all over these Roaches.
Oh, goodbye.
We have some Zerglings starting to stream in, and there's quite a few forces left over for our Zergs. Starting to focus down these disruptors. You can see the tankiness of the Roaches, just so good in these straight up engagements.
Yeah, that was amazing. So cool right now.
Oh, and look at that. The anti-air is gone. The Mutalisks will have some fun.
Yeah, get rid
Until
of
those Corsairs come in. Run away from the Corsairs.
Oh.
Corsairs have splash versus air and tiny little baby disruption webs. When we made them of a reasonable size, it was broken. So we had to make them small.
Oh man, I'm just loving all the back and forth reactions to each other's play this game.
Yeah. It's really great to see those like theoretical ideas that you have in your head about how things will work, and then have them actually work that way on screen as high level players are playing the game. It's really exciting to see.
I mean, I'm impressed by Ace and Daedra. So impressed. It's...
Oh no, army! The whole army is in the top right, dealing with
Oh,
4
no, but the
Centurions.
Yeah, the left side. They have to be so careful with the sides.
Ace is in position where he could start cutting off reinforcements, but the enemy army is in his main. Meantime, some focus fire down on the base.
God.
You don't want to trade a main for an expansion.
Oh gosh. Look at those Lancers just pushing through. Just destroying everything.
Plague goes down. Not landing on too many units here. However, couple bases getting taken down in the meantime, and so far the main hasn't taken too much damage.
Yeah, luckily the
Parasitic Cluster goes down on the Lancer. We're going to start to see those locusts pop up as a result. One base in the center does go down. We have another one about to go down in the top center.
that was a really nice save by Deirdre with the roaches though. Really nice.
Classic Surge strats. Cutting off the reinforcements for free with Zerglings, being really efficient, letting their opponent dive as deep as they can and just take attrition damage from all the spells, and stepping a bit too far forward. And then counterattacking with just small groups of efficient Zerg units.
Nidus Destroyer, super critical to that. It absorbed so much damage once that army got into the main. That wasn't even an upgraded Nidus Destroyer either. It was a little baby one.
This
Oh,
is still
wow.
an even game, which is insane.
Oh, gonna
Yes.
move forward, and oh no, the Disruptor shots are all duds. Moving in. Gonna try to snipe some siege units here. Gotta make sure to try and spread as much as possible, but there just is not a lot to deal with these roaches right now. The siege tank's all alone.
Oh,
Absolutely no
Oh,
tanking in the
man, with
middle
the
or in the
Marine.
front.
In the meantime, these Banelings trying to land on some more of the Marines. These units are so low on health, but they need to be able to finish the job. Zerglings
come on, Banelings.
coming through. Gonna be able to take out the siege tanks at least, but this Marine ball, it's gonna be tough to
Yeah.
deal with. Zergling reinforcements, some roaches as well, maybe on a different control group, however. Headed off in a
Tough
different
to
direction.
deal with. There's Defilers, Jack. Oof. There's Dark Swarm and Plague for days.
Morphing some more Banelings.
You just got tagged onto a static D structure, and
But there's an issue. They're coming in from the left side.
by the way,
This,
bottom
disruptors.
center, Space Marine is taking a base. And Daedra is just taking the base over to the side of it. Little intermingling of the bases here.
Yeah. I don't know if that was meant to happen.
It looks like they will lose this ground, though.
Yeah.
Nice move out. Gonna be able to
Bangs.
hit a lot of these
Look
Banelings.
at him.
Start
Ooh.
dealing that slow and the damage over time to allow the Zerglings to clean up the rest of the force in the meantime.
Oh, but look at the static D.
Base on the
photo
outside.
balance. And those lances.
A lot of free Zerglings there, but trade a base for it. And there's a
Looked
really
like a
vulnerable
bad
base in the bottom
rally.
center now. Yeah. Some unit pathing issues.
Oh, the roaches.
Ooh,
It's
lands
been
quite a bit
beautiful.
of parasitic cluster down.
Oh, the disruptors. Get away, get away.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Almost
Oh,
managed the split, but at the last second,
Almost.
that's all the spellcasters down for Daedra. It's gonna have to replenish his stock.
The
So
terrain for
sad.
that fight was just not favorable at all for the Zergs.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? We have a hill here. It's not a high ground or a low ground, right? It is a hill.
Yeah,
Goes
the
up
main
and down
issue
very
is
quickly.
it's such a small choke point to take a fight. It's a single hallway,
Yeah.
and not a lot of room to spread your units out against the siege tanks and disruptors and lancers.
So much splash damage. Like a Junkrat versus a Reinhardt shield. You're just not gonna last very long.
Oh, a little cleanup on the
Ooh.
hatch.
Yeah.
Very nice move. And like, Daedra's taking this base over here in the top center. No one has agreed upon whose bases are whose just yet. There's gonna
Yeah.
be quite a bit of fighting over these final 4 untaken bases on the outside, and then maybe even eventually these central bases. We rarely see them taken except in late game scenarios.
Holy tech switch, Batman.
What do we got?
Look at Space Marine's Tempest count.
It seems on the high side, December. Seems like he's got quite a few of those little buddies.
Uh-oh. That.
We have a partying
Oh.
nexus. We have a rave nexus. Whenever a Baneling hits a building, it makes an incredible rave, and everyone has a great time. Lots of EDM, you know.
Lots of EDM. The club is alive right now. Vanguard.
Oh,
those
the Tempest
are so
army.
scary. They scare me just looking at them. They.
Ooh, with the repair, I think they're gonna be able to save this base, and they're gonna kill one of their opponents. We're starting to see things tip in favor of our blue team, but still a very, very close game. A lot of this has to do with the dance of the spellcasters. 1 EMP on those clumped up defilers, and this fight over here on the left side is lost. Have to be very, very careful with those. Observer also in play for Kebab King in case any burrow shenanigans might ensue.
The Corruptors came in.
Oh, here they come.
They mopped up 3 of the Tempests for free.
That's
essentially.
almost half of the Tempest they had.
Yeah, 4
Full
get to
energy
walk away, but
infestors
that
over
was a
here.
really good trade.
In the bottom left.
It looks like on both sides, blue team
Ooh, that was a
has
big
gotten
EMP.
the better end of the deal.
He's only got 1 defiler left. It will throw down the Dark Swarm. Second Dark Swarm. And move in. These siege tanks are getting focused down. I don't think those bombs should not hit. They do manage to get a roach or 2.
There we go. There's the proper 2v1 that Zerg can do so much more efficiently than the Terran and Protoss combo.
Gonna move in, try to snipe this base. There is an ambush bunker nearby. Will get triggered. A bit of surround attempt happening, but that's gonna put them right in the sights of all these little Zerglings. The Marines try to chase down the defilers. Nice focus fire on the tanks. So many tech units going down for the blue team. Speaking of tech units, the tech's also dying.
So the Corsairs want to go attack the Corruptors, but the Roaches are helping zone for them.
Nice
Get away!
irradiate.
Oh,
Excellent split in response.
disruptors are terrifying. Those
Yes.
balls of death.
Almost all the Corsairs down now. Couple of Havocs, though. Really got to be careful with those guys. Splash damage versus air at long range. Very powerful anti-air unit. You need to respect those. However, Zerglings do quite well against them on the ground. Don't need too much to deal with them. 20 Zerglings in the production for Ace, so you should be prepared to deal with that, at least in a one-on-one scenario.
Ground-based anti-air in this game is just so strong.
Yeah.
Really important to have a way for players without air superiority to take it back from the ground. All the factions do feature a dedicated ground-to-air unit with long range of varying
the
flavors.
Zerling countering attacks.
Oh, yeah.
So many workers.
Yeah, that's just all the remaining workers. Just makes you want to Psy Storm.
Look at them all run away. Too scared.
That's
I'd be scared.
painful.
I would be terrified.
Losing your ultras for free like that.
Yeah, it wasn't really necessary for the Ultras to be there in that counterattack, I think.
Daedra baiting the entire death ball of their opponent all the way across the entire map to go defend that CC. Daedra is a little spooked though. He doesn't want to lose those roaches. They know that their army's very small right now.
Yeah, and very specific too, right? We have all these Corruptors. Such a high Corruptor count for Ace that switch into a pure ground situation would be very deadly.
Are those drones attacking that base?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
When you mine out all of your bases and you have nothing left to do, use your drones to kill the base in long distance mine.
Warrior drones.
Oh man.
Haven't
Ace
we reached
needs
that
lings.
mark of, like,
Yeah, the Mass Corruptor
Yeah.
could be good, but unfortunately those Havocs exist, which is just shuts down that plan.
Yeah, unless he gets down some really sick plagues.
Oh,
He
the
does
fires.
get almost all the Tempests, as I say, as the Tempest count just doubles. 1 second here.
There was some Plague that went down, but they've just got another healing structure that's going to...
Yeah, they need
eventually
to
heal them
come in
all
and
up.
engage. Good timing from Ace, spreading out the Corruptors as much as possible,
Yeah.
getting the
Come on,
damage
Ace.
done on the weakened Tempests, but
Too much firepower.
yeah, just too much overall, and now the ground army is coming back into the fold, siege tanks and lancers. So we have this sort of rotational game. Unit compositions keep changing, keep shifting.
The anti-harass squad of 4 fire bats up at the top.
You shall not pass!
It's not really that many fire bats, though.
No, I mean, I think he could just overwhelm them.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna hit him with Banelings first, that attention to detail.
Come on,
Yeah,
baby.
that makes it super efficient.
Yep. And right now, efficiency is the name of the game. We're 25 minutes in. Almost all the bases that we started with have been mined out. And it's come down. It's all about these expansions now. Who can hold on to their expansions?
Yeah,
Right
the
now,
biggest
the blue
issue
team in a
is,
big lead.
Space Marine has a 2,500 value army and minerals and 1,740 gas.
Okay, and tell me Daedra's army?
Oh no. Daedra's 0.
0. 0.
Oh god.
That
but
is
he's
problematic.
He's getting a hatch up.
Oh,
It'll pop up
no.
anytime now.
Oh no.
Does Ace have any mining? No, he is 1 patch of blue minerals left.
And all 5 of his workers are mining it furiously as the Tempests come in.
Here come the Tempest.
The Nerazim army. Late game, super high tech. God, it's
Yeah,
scary.
look at only Robo and Stargate units. There's not even any mineral dump in this at all.
Yeah.
What are zealots, Jack?
What are zealots? Kebab
Good.
King doesn't know. He's like, I don't need zealots. If I just build only awesome units, I'll win the game, he says. And he's managed to remain cost efficient for most of the game and keep a lot of his gas units alive, and that's what's allowed him to snowball this into such a powerful unit composition. Small note, there are SCVs in this army repairing both the Protoss and the Terran things.
Ooh.
Remember, they can repair
Desperation.
anything that is mechanical.
Oh,
Last
It's the
attack.
attack
he just
drones!
hit the spell on his drones!
Attack
No!
of the drones! I don't think it's enough. GG! Well played.
GG.
Great game.
Oh, wow.
Very intense. Very intense game. Well done.
Oh man, let's see if we can get the comeback. It would be I think a minor upset. Daedra and Ace are definitely not like disfavored completely in this match, but you definitely give favor to Space Marine Lilicanine.
Yeah, I would say so. Vorazun, Raynor again. Same compositions as last time around. Spawning pool first over here for Ace. Waiting on Daedra, Lilicanine. As usual, placing his forward racks to begin the game. Allows him that flexibility to be able to push out if he sees some greed. If he wants to punish. And if not, he can safely float it home later on.
I love that. I just absolutely love that and adore that proxy every single time.
And not only that, he proxies and he takes the SCV that does the proxy to trigger the Xel'Naga turrets and make it more difficult for the opponents to expand.
Yeah, it's really
I guess
fun.
it can't be considered a proxy. It can only be considered like a forward barracks.
Yeah, it's like a Macarax, but not quite. I mean, we might have to come up with a new term for it eventually.
Yeah, you don't really need to wall anything because your main is so saturated with turrets.
Mm-hmm. Really allows you to have a lot of flexibility early on. All these, we have the rich mineral protectors, and we also have these Nidus destroyers, and all of that really adds up to letting you kind of do what you want in the early game, being pretty safe in your main base. No early attacks is gonna come in and destroy your main.
Ace
Something
doing
else?
the same thing. Early aggression from Ace.
He's gonna run to this bunker though. See if he sees it. You can
Has he
tell. You can
realized?
see the shimmer.
Oh,
Oh! Not the time to use that spell. And you can't dodge those Molotov cocktails either. Oh. Didn't notice the ambush bunker shimmer there.
Oh, that's
And
so sad for Ace.
that was a cost inefficient. Oh, look at this from Kebab King. Gonna slow things down even more. Gonna take a fortification in their opponent's base. Very nice moves. Let's see what's going on.
Well, at least there's the 20% mineral refund on those Zerglings because Ace is overmined.
That's right. Overmind the special perk.
Yep.
Recycle-lings. Your lings get recycled.
Cycling. It's the best. I
It's
mean, Zerglings are good.
the actual name is Devouring One Aspect as a callback to Brood War.
Welcome to the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the pack.
Thank you for all the follows that are going through. I try to shut it off to make the recording nice and clean, but it turns out it's impossible to shut off just from obs.
Welcome to the pack.
And so everyone's just going to be welcome to the pack. So enjoy. Enjoy your moment of fame. You know who you are,
Enjoy.
but nobody else does.
A quick 5th base from Daedra.
This is a really interesting base because it's so small, so claustrophobic. The choke to get in is really tiny as long as the rocks stay up. But it's on the low ground and surrounded by high ground on both sides, so very harassable in a lot of different ways. And these Void Rays will make quick work of it if they come in at the right angle here. Oh, 3. Wow.
Yeah, last time we thought it was going to be Void Ray, but this time it actually is Void Ray.
Yep. See, you need 3 Stargates of Void Ray, 2 of Oracles, says Kebab King. Now we know the secret formula.
So you know what? Void Rays, especially when you're Warzone, you can actually reach the main base minerals. Because of the serious range on the Shadow Cannon.
We'll have to see if Kebab King makes use of that. Void Ray is just going to walk over this area and
No need to
start
use energy.
taking out the drones.
Oh, it's such a long walk to go defend that base
Yeah.
at this stage of the game.
Yep, and all they have to do is retreat north a little bit, and they'll be totally fine. So got to keep it in mind. A couple Void Rays, by the way, just 2 over to the right side. We'll see if that ends up coming into play soon. Oh my god! Oh, wow!
Oh.
The Shadow Cannon just quickly blasts out all the workers and walks away. Now I understand.
My.
I
And here's some
understand now.
coming in from the...
Just gonna move in, get 2 kills, walk away. Mostly shield damage. And
Oh my God.
even to be combating these roaches and spores as well. And red team
This-
totally
this
stuck in their
map-
own base right now.
This dead space abuse on this map
Oh.
is
Yeah.
the only map I think you can do this with Void Rays on.
Really nice utilization there. Dealing with map-specific strategies. Ooh. Oh man, I remember when shadow cannons used to be bad. That stopped happening. It's gonna come
It
in
is
for a
kind
bit
of
more
slow
harass.
harassment though, because the energy generation does take its time.
Yeah, I really like this though because it's a consistent amount of harassment and it's not really committal. Like Kebab King has lost what, 1 or 2 Void Rays during this whole harassment time?
Just one.
Yeah.
Just 1. So I mean, this has been so cost efficient for Kebab King, And we're seeing it start to reflect in the supplies. 150, 132 for our blue team, 66, 96 for Daedrace.
I think about 24 kills total across all these living Void Race.
Wow.
Oh, really? Already?
That's
Yes,
fantastic.
already.
And it's created a lot of space for them,
a lot
too.
Of
Look
drone
at this.
kills, a lot of roach kills.
Expansion over in the center left side, as well as that little pocket base. That's been the point of contention for our red team.
Oh, come on, Banelings. Destroy everything.
Void Ray is definitely a very high skill floor unit to use like this.
Yeah. Yep. It takes
Very
quite a bit of
finesse
skill
heavy.
to get that minimum value out of them.
Oh my god, just more and more drones.
I love the shift Q technique on that. I've never seen that used before on a Void Ray, but oh, big move in from Ace. This is the Ace style. This is the way to play. Be
That is
careful.
the deadest of Nexuses.
Trying not to use too many Banes on accident there. Well done.
That would be devastating if that happened.
Yeah, Vanguard Banelings work very differently than normal StarCraft 2 Banelings.
Yeah, they're a completely different unit. Really, we need a different model for them.
Should I explain
ideally.
it if you want to?
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah, please explain the difference.
So
in
the Baneling in this unit actually overkills, much like Scourge did in Brood War. So you got to make sure they're hitting different targets and coming from different angles. Because you can just absorb a lot of Banelings if you just use them very dumbly. But whenever they do impact, they don't just do damage. Instead, they apply a storm-size debuff that reduces attack speed and movement speed by 50%, and then deals 50 damage over the course of 10 seconds.
All right, so it's a DOT and it's slow.
Yeah, and an
okay.
attack speed slow, which is like a major part of... oh, here's a big engagement.
Oh, hunting down all of those infestors, but they got most of their spells off as the locusts start to spawn out.
There's just not enough combat units from here from Dace and Aedra. I don't know why they're trying to take this fight so fast.
Certainly problematic. That one disruptor in the front is just asking for it. Look at him.
Look at
He
this
wanted
one.
it.
Very
Roshan.
low hit point units over here. The recovery shrine is still building. If they can get a reinforcement in time before the recovery shrine heals everything, it might
Alright,
be their only shot at winning this. Uh-oh, they're running out of time. Healing has begun from the recovery shrine. And that is going to make a lot of their hard work go to waste.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Very patient play from Kebab King Lulukanin right here. Very patient. Just hanging out.
The
Sieging
disruptor
long
plays
range.
are so insane. Oh, these poor... The
Yeah,
pools of
it
death
feels
are
like a
so sad
ticking
to
clock.
watch.
Counterattack from Ace, as is expected. Will they be able to hold this high ground against these scary, scary army of the blue team?
It's terrifying. Oh, here comes the defense.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ace, Terran buildings lift, and so this base will not die. And we do have a move in during the main engagement. Look, they're getting choked down into this bottleneck. The Void Rays will go down without the help of their... Oh my god, the Shadow Cannons, though, have bruised up all those units so badly. Need to pull back before the Disruptors finish the job. Do manage to get a couple of lings with those hits. But now the Lancer is in position. They have their additional range.
Ow.
Starting to blast everything down. Waiting for the right moment. And this is it. They're coming in from all directions, all sides.
It's great. But is it enough?
It's such a deep tank line.
Oh, man. And the Marines, by the way, wrapped around in the meantime, starting doing harassment damage. They're in the main base. There's almost nothing to stop them. Just very patient, well-coordinated play, really utilizing the strengths of their units.
Yeah, this game is over. Look at Space Marine's bank right now.
Yeah.
Wowie.
Yeah. Now, very important thing to do if you want to know who's going to win the video game, who's ahead. Since build times are so quick in Vanguard, a lot of times it is about that bank. And you remax after the fight is over. And Kebab King, I don't know, he might be able to remax. He's got about, 5,000 minerals. I guess that's
Crazy. This is crazy to see.
He has enough money.
Wow.
No matter what composition their opponents switch to, Space Marine could just completely hard counter it with an army twice the size of whatever
literally.
Daedra Ace throw out.
In a few seconds, he can just...
Look at this firebat wall up at the top.
This is
Daedra.
terrifying.
Oh man. This position, right? He's just hanging out. Look at this. And I love the combination of, you have the Lancers, the Stasis Wards are tough to push into,
Now
you got
the
the splash
frigate.
damage from the Void Ray, the Frigate, the icing on the cake
Frigate
here.
are amazing anti-mutalisk too.
And we're gonna see, if this game doesn't end, we're gonna see some Tempest added to this this force as well. Fleet
Oh
Beacon
my.
just finishing up now.
Alien Tempest
Requesting lift
is
on
just
hatcheries.
Gonna be... Yes, flying hatcheries. That's
Flying hatcheries and spires
Walking
too.
hatcheries. They could walk like a spider.
What if they could
Or
burrow
millipede.
underground and go through this low ground area and just pop up on the other side?
Honestly, I think they should just have like rockets on the bottom of them and
Okay.
lift up and like shoot
Okay,
out
look
from
at
the
what's
ground
happening
and land
across the
somewhere
map
else.
right now. Look at what's happening with the...
Big Zergling run by. Gonna run into a wall here.
Owie.
Hatches should be able to lift off, land somewhere, and if it's on an enemy unit, it blows up and like spits out 100 Balings everywhere.
That is amazing.
I think that would be balanced.
I think that'd be fun and balanced.
Fun and balanced gameplay. That's what it's all about. As we're seeing the
Then a
final
Banshee
push.
counters it all.
Units
Yeah.
coming through.
Adding in those tempests is just the icing on the cake right now.
Inspired frigates push their way through. GG, well played. That's the series, and the Clean Space
GG,
Marine
well
will go
played.
on into the finals.
Video game.
Oh
Great.
wow!
Can we just talk about how Ektar just made a command that says, I don't like Zest?
Oh, we might have to ban ace bots. We might have to ban ace bots for doing that.
I'm very insulted by that.
Ace,
Also,
Ace, please get control of your bot. Your bot is being very rude, and we don't appreciate rude bots in this channel. So please get a handle on that. Thank you.
that wasn't
The
Ace's
bot
fault, that
mutiny.
was Ektar.
Yeah.
Can't put the blame on Ace.
I will always. put the
Seventh
blame on
ace is really low tier handle because I'm like, how do you have 7 aces? You know, there's only 4 aces in a deck.
If it was like 5th ace, it'd be like, oh, he's sneaking an extra ace. But like sneaking
Ooh,
3
you know he's
aces,
cheating.
like that's a lot of aces to sneak. That's very
it's
sneaky.
just absurd at that point.
I mean, who can sneak 3 aces? Even the greatest of, sleight of hand manipulators, 3 aces? No, they can't do that.
Ooh.
All right, do we have any changes in commanders? It looks like none on the pro side, and then Zervis is playing Overmind. Torque is playing, Phoenix. Cool. We might get to see some Dragoons that are well known to be good in this video game.
It's fine, I'm not against the Dragoons, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, this is interesting. Drone going out to scout as well, maybe to aggro those neutral Zelnaga towers. Can be a bit of a nuisance, but expansion. Oh,
He just made... Is,
Oh,
is
man.
he doing what I think he's gonna do? Are they doing...
oh
Are
my
they
god.
doing those shenanigans from
Oh.
yesterday's game? No way.
Yep.
They're doing the talk strat.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Okay. 16 lings being made by Zervis. They're going to be sent across to help with this, what I assume is a proxy spine crawler rush.
Yeah, it is. That is exactly what is happening right now. So if you're unfamiliar with this strat, Talk came up with this idea of making Creep Colony and then making them into spines was like Static D. Basically like a cannon rush, but with spine crawlers.
Yeah.
It's just so carefully out of vision.
Oh my god, the second one is out of vision too. Oh my god, that is insane.
Here begin the spines.
Oh.
And unfortunately, Space Marine has gone fully into gas space. And Ulkanin going...
This
Building
is
his
crazy.
expansion, just one barracks.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're actually doing this.
This may be the
Oh.
favorite game of the tournament for Glorfy, I think.
The
This
cheese.
is exactly what we tried to do yesterday. I was saying, you know,
Yeah.
this isn't what Vanguard is, but apparently it's what Vanguard is now.
So the way out of this is if Space Marine quickly goes into a Robo and gets a Lancer out. That's the quickest option for a siege tool to fight these off.
I mean, also high ground. They have no high ground vision. A lot of these things are in range of high ground. I feel like just throwing some range units up there would help significantly. Most of these spine crawlers are in range. This is a very difficult scenario. Zerglings coming in as well. We've got probes trying to wall off. This surely is super desperation times for our professional team.
reaction's a bit weird because I don't think you actually want to sacrifice any early units to go try to kill the spines. Oh, here's the good play.
Here it
Use
is.
Marines
There's the
from
high
top.
ground move.
Oh wow.
Caught off guard though, and this is what happens. You have to be able to improvise. You have to be able to react to new strategies, and especially in a game like Vanguard that changes so frequently, your ability to
Incoming
react to these kind of
goons.
scenarios is very important.
This is going to complicate the defense.
Ooh, yeah. Having that barracks out of position, I think you can actually just focus it down here.
I mean,
I don't think it'll be able to get back to no, it won't. This barracks is going down. Won't lose the supply, but he will lose the ability to build units for a while, which is unfortunate.
Lancers
Units
are out.
are pretty important.
there is a reason why we call talk shenanigans, and
Yeah.
this is exactly the reason why. I mean, look at what's happening right now.
Yeah,
This
and I
is
mean,
obviously
and Zervis
Talk's
is the
idea.
one doing the shenanigans. So I mean, he's having an effect here. He's having sort of like he's corrupted Zervis into one of his shenanigans clones. Gateway gonna go down there. Spine crawlers pushing up, maybe a little too aggressively, but they know that their
Yeah,
time is
a little
limited
bit.
with those lancers around. Siege tanks as well. Currently, siege mode has not been upgraded. It does take a little bit. You got to get the armory.
I love this here with the sneaky expo.
Yep. Great way to make use of the immobility of the spine crawler. So much of Zerus's value has been put in this side of the map, just expanding to the other side.
Okay, they can actually re-expand now. But I mean, they already took 12, so that would be a third base at that point.
I think this was more of an idea to delay them. than
Yeah,
anything.
I don't think you need to win here, right? I think they've put themselves very clearly in the lead. They're going to have 5 bases to 4 relatively soon, and they've been on 4 base longer. Kebab King only just now getting the 4th base, so good
Look at
economic
this
lead.
infrastructure.
Lot of gateway
Charge coming
supply.
out.
And he's picked Phoenix, so the early game units, the Zealot and the Dragoon, do have some special perks. You can Warpman Dragoons with 5 Zelnaga energy, and their mineral supply cost, all that is still the same.
Oh,
But you
that's
can warp them in.
Artanis.
That's Artanis. Oh, excuse
Yeah.
me.
Phoenix has a Guardian Shell. His Dragoons, if they stand still for a certain duration, you can see up here. His Dragoons have +2 range after they've stood still.
Nice. Whoa, nice little control over here. Gonna take out 2 Lancers for just a few Zerglings. Great trade by Zervas.
You say that the other two, you know, Kebab King and Anakin, you know, they're pros, but then again, so is Zervas. You have to remember that he is also
Yep.
playing for my insanity.
Yeah, Torque is the odd man out here, being the non-professional player, but very skilled. Played even Brood War at a high skill level, not a professional level by far, but he can actually play one of the hardest, if not the hardest game in all of esports.
And he's Torque, which means he's got shenanigans.
Yeah, he's
As you
very
saw
good at
earlier.
coming up with cool, sneaky, interesting strats that really mess with our opponents. I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if Torque was the one who came up with this idea. Although Zervis may be showing a little bit of shenaniganry here. His capability for shenanigans. His capacity for it.
Yeah, Space Marine and Awakening are going to really shine once they're able to bring this into a more stable macro game.
So far, Space Marine just going super greedy. Taking a bunch of bases, only 32 army supply. He does have the infrastructure to get that army up quickly. This does get scouted. Center left side. It's tough to deal with the space without air or without mining out these mineral patches. Ooh, Banshee play. Gonna help come back in the economic game.
Oh, these Vipers are going to say, come back to me.
Yes, the
Banshee.
Vipers. Thank you, Vipers.
Nicely done. Loses
Bingo.
some workers, but he's back to full saturation already.
Zervis is so smart with his plays. He's very good at telling you when to engage and when not to. He knows that. That's what I learned from him while playing with him while playtesting.
That's a really good synergy with Torque then, because I think one of Torque's biggest weaknesses is engaging as a teamwork in teamwork. While if Zervis is there to help him shore that up, that makes Torque a lot stronger than he usually is.
So many bases. Oh my god. Kebab King just taking the whole map, really taking advantage of the passivity of the blue team. And the lack of scouting the outside bases as well.
Yeah, Torque's got his tech up now though, so he should be starting to be aggressive. Because he's got Storm, he's got a lot of High Templar, he's got Charge a lot.
Ooh, nice. Picks off 2 siege tanks basically for free.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Ooh, he's got the high ground over here. He's got Psy Storms. EMPs can come from these science vessels, so he's going to be very careful. Bit of a spellcaster war. Going to be... Oh, no! Rallying in 2 High Templar die before they can cast any spells at all.
Oh, no.
EMPs go down as well, making all of the rest of the High Templars useless. Only 2 Storms out of all of that energy end up landing. Zealots, though, in the meantime, managed to harass the base quite a bit. And now the Archons are morphed, so we can take a little bit more of a straight-up engagement as long as those Archons are alive. Once he loses that front line, though, those Dragoons are not long for this world.
He's gonna have to back off with these Tempests coming in.
Absolutely. Running in with the Zealots. He chronoed them as well. Might
He's
just
still
be trading out.
Yeah, now he's retreating. That's a good idea. Get in some of that damage and then leave.
Meanwhile, on the left side,
Welcome to the pack.
Kebab King almost losing this base. Huh. Did you
Did
see
that
that?
Viper Pulse not go off?
It didn't go off because the hidden happened while the animation was... That was a pretty unique circumstance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Big push
Oh,
over on the right
Torque.
side of the map. Torque and Zervis need to work together to defend here. If those storms land on that bio and on that air, could be in a good spot, but he needs Zervis. He needs Zervis with him. He can't engage this
This
alone.
is scary.
Yeah, he needs him.
2 Storms. Oh, they're EMP'd.
Kebab King Lilikaneen pouncing on this moment of isolation. Really sharp decision making there, realizing Zervis was out of position, take a really good fight. Keep in mind, this is a best of 3 finals. This is game
the pulls
1.
with the Tempest. That was really nice play from Zervis.
Managed to take out those high-tech units.
Yeah, it was very good for him. Now he's retreating away.
But Torque has lost so much of his supply now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Torque needs to get back up that tank.
He was just never able to cleanly disengage when he got 2v1'd, unfortunately. So he's really down on army. this is the scary part. Siege tank line, the Lil Canine siege tank line has begun outside
Yeah.
your natural. What do you do?
The contain has started.
Probably
Yeah.
cry.
Ow.
Luckily there are Vipers, so that'll help. And there's
The
not
Vipers
too
are
much
going
AA.
in right now. They're putting in the siege tanks into the Ultras.
Ultra trying to get back.
Yeah, Talk is fortunately blocking the way with the Dragoons.
Gotta be very careful here. It's a tough choke to fight, especially as Zerg with Ultras.
Okay, there we go.
Starting to
yeah,
trim
just-
off the outside bases here. As they, limb by limb, they are destroying their opponents. In the meantime, though, Torque and Zerberus have managed to bring their supply back up, bring their army back up. They've got another shot at this, but the bank of Space Marine is huge. He should be able to pump out a lot of units very quickly here.
Look at that base count for Space Marine. The mini-map tells it all.
Yeah. And he's taking another base. He's pretty much just saying, yeah, I'm going to just go super greed. You control them. And then eventually when I have literally every base on the map, I guess I'll make some units. Here we go. 12 DTs out at a time. He's beginning to build his army now. One morph into a Dark Archon so far. Dark Archons have the very powerful AoE Confuse spell, forcing units to attack their own allies.
Oh no. Ooh, nice cancel there.
This is actually, I think, going to be pretty bad for Torque and Zervis because they have just been mostly passive this game. They seem to be a little afraid to try to go do damage. So
Very
with this
defensive.
strat out of Space Marine is going to fully capitalize on how passive Zervis and Torque play.
Yep. It's like, it's such a standard tenet of RTS. The greed beats the defensive player, and this team has been too defensive. Their opponents have been too greedy. And so, the greed is in a big lead here. Oh, watch out for the confuse.
Uh-oh.
We could possibly have some abducts on the Dark Archons. They do get one, and a Lancer as well. The confusion lands on a big chunk of the Hydras, though, and the army is coming through. Spells going down in every direction.
Oh no.
Storm's
Storm is
landing
a
a
big
lot of
thing.
those bio, zoning out a lot of the bio to the left side of the engagement. The siege tanks are sieging up. Disruptor shots going off as well.
Again, Space Marine are looking fine to fight against their opponent while they're funneled on the high ground ramp.
That seems to be their thing right now, is getting that high ground. Making them come, like, you know, making the red team come to them. And we always know how that turns out most of the time.
We've all seen the Star Wars prequel. We know what
Yeah, we
happens
all
when you're
know
on the
what
high
happens.
ground.
It's over, Anakin.
Even placing this forward ambush bunker to just make the position even stronger. Really like this use of the ambush bunker. It's really
Battle
starting
for
to
the
get
bottom
seen
left
now.
seems to
I
be going
mean,
way
can we
of Space
just
Marine.
Yeah.
talk about Space Marine's bank right now? I mean,
Let's talk about it. So it starts with the number 4,
Yep.
but then there's 3 more numbers after that.
Yeah, 3 digits. So he's in the 4 digits. Now, could you break down on an analysis level what that means, Mr. Travis Toller?
So it means that he actually just gets to keep building units.
And that's good.
Yeah, more units is good.
More
generally.
units is good. You heard it here first. Travis Toller, literal game designer. More units are good. Build them units.
More stuff. But it seems to be a playstyle thing for Space Marine, where he doesn't really tend to max.
No, he's kind of waiting. Do you think like he's more thinking playing that like heavy larva Lennox style from StarCraft 2? You just kind of wait off on what you're gonna make until you have a good idea of your opponent's unit composition.
I think he doesn't ever have to because he's never really forced to. And yeah, it seems to be a playstyle thing for him, where sometimes he'll switch into Mass Tempests when he feels like it's a good idea to do so. But he's basically prepared to build whatever counters you're whatever counters you when he's that far ahead, which really helps him solidify his lead and ensure the victory.
Spawning in the top right, it's Torque and Zervas. Picking Phoenix and Overmind. Bottom left, we have Vorazun and Raynor for Lillican Space Marine.
Yeah, Vorazun, very, very pretty.
And this map, very, very pretty. Cherry
pretty.
blossoms
Yeah, cherry blossom.
flying through
Overmind.
the air.
Very pretty.
Overmind's not pretty. Just stop it.
It's very pretty.
Nope.
Very handsome.
Overmind is the ugliest of
Just
Uggs.
beautiful.
Mega
Just
Ugg.
completely
Super
beautiful.
mega.
I don't know who does the
That is
Overmind's
very
makeup, but
rude,
it's gorgeous.
Why would you say that? That hurts.
Cause Overmind's got one giant eyeball and it's all slimy and gross.
You have a
Yeah,
giant
it's got like
eyeball
it's got
that's
like blood
slimy and
makeup on
gross.
it. It's very well, very tastefully done, very dramatic.
There's some caster PM right now, guys. Don't mind that.
Yep. Yeah, we just hate each other. It's normal. Don't worry about it.
It comes to spine crawler blows.
Ooh, look at Lincoln is putting a bunker
Oh my
block
God.
down on the
Oh my
on the
god.
Nexus.
Oh no.
Now that is commitment. That's the kind of commitment to block an
There
expansion.
are some other blue team shenanigans happening right now.
I don't know if it's good on this map because I mean, there's so many expansions you can go to early on.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, speaking about this map, we do have some pretty unique features. This is the high base count map. Lots of bases that can be taken relatively easy, and then on the side we have these double gas expansions that are blocked by the rocks. So, especially in the
that
economy
bunker
right now.
got traded out for 50 shields.
Yeah, not worth. Not worth. But yeah, so you can get some extra gas by going for these expansions in the corner. Help support a higher unit complexity in your army, higher tech army, which is very, very valuable. Small thing to note that you don't see and you don't notice unless we talk about it, but I'd like to let you know there are no incremental upgrades in Vanguard at the moment. We're testing it out. That means no +1, +1, +2, +2, etc. Unit relationships maintain their sort of strikes, etc. So how many strikes it takes for a zealot to kill a zergling doesn't shift quite as much. But it's all about the unit composition, about shifting what you have and countering your opponent.
All the early shenanigans.
Yep.
This is a pretty passive early game usually on this map because it's very defense and expand oriented early on.
Yep.
It's not
Oh,
until
and this
you get
base.
to
Oh
these
my.
kinds of bases.
I love this base. This I actually think that this base is easier to defend than the base in your main. It's like it's so choked up. If you take that
Yeah.
tower and build some stacked defenses, make sure you have some vision on the high ground. It's so hard to break this location. Even if you go across the map and take your opponents, all the chokes are just so small.
I mean, imagine all those static D you can do on that base. I mean, my heart is exploding thinking about it.
Oh my god, look at this scout. It's beautiful.
So sneaky.
Oh wow. That is very
Sneaky snuck all of its way
Oh,
into
the
the base.
Dragoon's gonna realize it's
Oh,
there.
it's gonna go back now.
Oh, he's gonna get the tech with the phase, with the shade.
Yep, just
Yeah,
a lot of
sees it.
gateways in a cyber core.
Oh, Hydra's being made by the Zervas.
It'll clue him in that he's gonna have anti-air capabilities and that if you build some light units, that'll help keep yourself alive versus the composition of Torque. Mass Void Ray out of Space Marine. It's gonna be harder to pull off on this map.
Starting to split them up already. Looking for that long-term sort of poking harass. Just doing a little bit at a time. Not trying to kill a base. But coming in. Taking out 5 workers. Trying to stay alive. Those long-range sky killers. Getting a lot of damage on that one Void Ray. And it will go down. In the meantime, though. Nice harassment on the main. Keeps the Voids alive. And again, I think he's only lost 1 Void Ray And he's already doing significant damage. The gas beginning to go down.
Yeah.
Gas, very, very important
Biogas.
resource.
That's the thing we're seeing a lot from them is void rays. And, you know, there isn't any spores. I mean, they kind of should have expected it to happen. Need that static D up from the spores.
11 kills so far with these Void Rays. But the Sky Killers just rip them from the skies.
Yep. Just jumping on top of the void rays.
Those Sky Killers coming in for the void rays by Zervis. But those Marines are coming in, chasing away the Sky Killers.
You can get really efficient, but it makes your army so weak in a straight-up engagement. So, we expect, the Lancer switch. So, very similar tactic to a lot of Space Marines games.
Yeah, I was talking about Space Marine maybe like waiting to do unit composition counter type stuff, but he's pretty stuck here on this Lancer, the Void Ray. The games tend to look the same. He's got a really good feel for a composition that's working well for him.
Yeah. And so Zervis has got so much Sky Killers, but he's mainly just going to be fighting Lancers, so it's going to be very Lancer favored.
Oh, but then again, the Sky Killers just knocked down them right now.
No, should be able
But
to
yeah,
run
I
away.
see what about the... No, he's not.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Does he win that fight?
He can, as long as the Sky
just
Killers
spelled.
are able to just push into
Yeah.
him.
Nice
Yeah,
focus
yeah,
fire.
there we go. It's... Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be enough with the reinforcements coming in. Nice bit of micro to finish off that fight.
Yeah, unfortunately that wasn't enough there, but...
Other side of the
Ooh.
map, Lickanine is
Kill.
pushing forward.
Deflected by
Marines.
siege tanks.
Shaving off a bit of that Torque army.
The Sky Killers did a lot better than they typically do because the Lancers weren't sieged up and it wasn't really ideal for them to be fighting quite yet.
By the way, score is 1-0 Kebab King Lickanine.
Oh. Drop Arena.
Nicely done. Going to take out half the workers. Maybe get a gas before
Yeah,
they've
the
got to
gas
get out of
going
here.
down.
The Dragoons are just going to be able to move in and... Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely destroy that just
This
after
is
all of them
why
get
we
in.
say Dragoons are good.
4
Ooh,
Oracle
Oracle.
hit squad coming in.
Ooh, splitting off into different mineral lines.
Oh, if they could go for those High Templar, that could be supreme value.
Oh no, they already got one. Waiting for the storm. Storm
And a
basically
storm
burned out there.
invaded.
At the front base, the 5th base of our team over here, totally destroyed. Again, the whole mineral line. Gonna have to go back
Yeah.
to rebuilding the workers.
See, what I've noticed about the blue team is they love just taking out that mineral line because, as you can see, Space Marine's
Big fight.
bank, he's coming up again. Like last game, he's constantly getting that high bank. Minerals, gas. Constantly doing that so we can get out more units every time.
Here's the Stasis Ward combo
Oh,
of Siege
yeah.
Tank, Oracle, Stasis Ward.
Love it.
Where if they get charged, the Stasises come out and trap all the lings.
Yeah, and one of the things too is that Ace was pretty consistently baiting out those stasis wards with Zerglings. We'll have to see if Zervis is going to do the same. May not be
One
quite
Oracle.
as studied against the Lickanine Space Marine games as Daedra is doing lots of studying, seeing the different techniques they've used in tournaments in the past.
Oh, little
nice
Viper
pull there.
Oh, another pull.
Double pull
Nice.
will finish it off.
That is really nice to play by Zervis.
Single hold position Oracle with 5 kills on the base in the top
Doing
left
so
by the
much.
whale.
It's
I
Oh
mean,
man.
continuing to blockade it.
There seems to be this like standoff between the blue and red right here, and it's kind of the Vipers are like
Oh my god.
slowly pulling
What?
them in.
How did he get this much army in his
Whoa.
opponent's base? The sneakiest Lancers of all time. What? Is a Lancer run by? Like, what even are we watching right now? This is ridiculous. In the meantime, we'd also have Marines moving over to the left side of the map to help out that Oracle, who, by the way, racked up 7 kills on hold position in the corner over there. Focusing down the Lurker Den. Takes a long time to get one of those up. Very nicely done. No Lurkers on the field at the moment.
That was an amazing distraction there. Going into their main bases and just destroying what they can before they notice.
Siege tanks.
And come the Tempest.
Oh, those are the 3 deadest Templar I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Blasted. Nice storm. EMP to offset it, though. So much this Protoss army getting in huge trouble while Kebab King decides to take every base on the map, as usual. I am no longer surprised by this.
Oh man, these Tempests are doing the work.
Yeah, they are.
Yep, this is really sort of space control style where you hold position on the map, key positions on the map that allow you to look at all this space. Look at all this free area that's pretty much untouched on the blue side.
If you look at the red team's bank compared to the blue team's bank right now, it's crazy. Every time they're constantly on top of that with the blue team.
A lot of Vipers over here. Let's see if we can grab at least the science vessels. A lot of Sky Killers. The Tempest should get evaporated pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The tech advantage is just out of control for blue team.
I think it was an EMP on the Vipers, right? After they made those first 2 pulls.
Yep.
Stopped them from finishing up the rest of that army. They really needed that energy. A slow, methodical grind of the Lycanian Space Marine. When you're ahead, build more siege tanks and stasis wards, Artosis famously once said.
These Marines are, with those medic support, are actually have so far been a really good support. I mean, push tool against the drones.
Yep. They also have that flashbang. New ability.
Oh, maybe a little overeager with that siege tank on deploy. Goes back to the photon cannons.
Oh, and this is it. They've decided this is their big shot. If they're gonna make a move, it's gonna be now. But does not net value, unfortunately.
Every single kill Space Marine and Lilithine have made so far in this tournament, it's been like butchering an enemy army in a tight choke on a ramp.
Just waiting to take the engagement that favors them.
Yeah, I think you just can't do anything about that position once they're solidified there with those photon cannons.
I mean, those Starlight
You just have to care about other places.
I mean, those Sky Killers are doing a good job of just mowing them down, but it's not enough, it seems.
Bases are getting hollowed out here. We're running out of economy and supply on the red team side. Only this one game, Lily Canine and Space Marine, if they win it, they win the whole tournament. This is it. This is for all the marbles. That $100 first place prize, $200 total prize pool. The Vanguard Monthly number 3.
Oh my god. Space Marine is taking base everywhere.
Yep. And he doesn't even care, right? He doesn't. He's like, yeah, okay, maybe I hold on to these bases, maybe I don't. I'm not really worried about it.
I mean, even if he does lose those bases, he's not actually losing that much. I mean, look at that bank. It's not like it's gonna be a huge issue for him if he loses one of those bases.
And he still doesn't max. He's still 160 out of 224.
Yeah, like he's kind of almost max. Oh god, frigates.
And that can go all the way up to 288.
Oh god, the frigates.
Uh-oh.
They're so ridiculous, even against that many Sky Killers and Hydras. They're so powerful. I think they're at 700 hit points. All right, yeah, 700 hit points. Highest hit point unit in the game.
This game is over. Space Marine and Little Canadian just like to really inch their way to victory and grind out their opponent rather than trying to accidentally throw away too big of an army all at once and risk a comeback.
So that's
because they keep, yeah, Jack?
I was just gonna say so that the opposite of how I play. I just like throw all my units in and lose one game. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say they make a lot of high-tech units.
They do. They definitely do.
They save up all of that mineral gas for that.
The Tempests as the final nail in the coffin is a great choice because they're just so good at eking out efficiency and finishing off the enemy army. Alright, they smell blood in the water.
And they're finally moving in. Here it goes. Look at that mini-map covered in teal and blue. That is all. GG, well played goes down. Congratulations to Space Marine and Lilican for winning the Vanguard Monthly Tournament number 3. Next Vanguard Monthly Tournament will be the second Sunday of the next month. We're doing it for the rest of this year. So second Sunday, tune in, hang out, maybe train up. Maybe this is your new RTS. Come play test with us. We play test 4 days a week, Wednesday through Saturday. So be sure to tune in and hang out with us and learn a little bit about the game and maybe, you know, complain about balance or maybe not. You know, not is also an option. That's all. See ya.